Yep.
still work as is. You can only have one of them.
I heard
but
about that.
The two contestable ones, so either the one on the solo lane or the dual lane.
I forget what that does, though.
You can have both at the same time.
And so what does the stacking buff do? Is it just extend the duration of your buff, or what's going on there?
It's got a completely new effect. The one on the solo lane side is a cooldown reduction buff.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Base amount of cooldown reduction that actually scales with you per level. And obviously, there was a cooldown component on the previous blue buff. That's actually going to be shifted off onto the silver buff.
Right, so now solo laners aren't.
So you can fight over the cooldown buff. That's pretty cool.
Although
But
there is some other stuff going on later. We're going to come back.
Warriors do
So
get
if you're
cooldown as well.
If you're upset about that cooldown reduction, you think it's just contestable, just give us a little bit, maybe a few hours.
Yeah.
Warrior fans will
Warriors
be
fans
pleased.
will
And there's also one here over on the duo lane. This one gives a shield when picked up and protections.
Got it. So kind of a good support pickup maybe to help you dive in front line a little better.
Exactly.
There is a way to ask for buns. Exclamation point sub, I think might be it. The link.
No major changes to them.
Okay.
They've still got the rotation.
It's a defense
the
buff.
Furies. The main change is the shape to the arena.
Yeah.
But we should go back to the Pyromancer now that that's spawned. That was one we had to delay briefly for the flow of the map.
All right. So what's going on with the?
That might work, yeah.
All right. So the Pyromancer has a brand new reward.
Needs or new ult from Totem.
So the speed buff, that's nice. It felt good, but we wanted to spice it up a little bit. There was a lot of
true,
discussion
Ma.
about how can we make this a little bit more different, a little bit more unique. And
Ooh,
what we've got
that's
here now
cool.
is the Runic Bomb, which can be picked up by anyone on the team who gets the last.
Whoa!
Pyromancer.
That
It's
is
a
cool.
new ability in your consumable slot.
Yeah, you can see it right there.
Oh,
on the
that's
key slot.
crazy.
And it then gives you a ground target area effect detonating bomb that you can place.
That is
which
sick.
does physical damage. And
Fucking
applies a
terrorist.
Big knock up to God, or deals a
Sorry,
significant amount of damage to structures.
Let's
and
see it.
Debuffs their attack speed. You can use this as a way to push the siege.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you can use it.
It's definitely potent.
Right, it does a big damage and then it slows the attack the attack speed. So you can use this bomb.
I don't know if enemies can see it. That did a lot of damage to the tower, though.
You can
Wow.
leverage it in the early game to
You're
get
like, yo, hold on, boys. Let me go grab the bomb.
just a
Let's push
very
this Phoenix.
smooth dynamic from
That is
the
cool.
Pyromancer.
It seems like
That's so much more interactive. Like,
the
oh,
towers and the Phoenixes have
great
actually
change.
Lost a little bit of health, haven't they?
Yeah, that's correct. Let's see. Where's my numbers here? So we did decrease the base max health of tier 1 towers. And tier
catch me
2
sniping your
towers.
Qs and bombing you.
So yeah,
All
across
of them,
the board.
right.
It does take the MMR terrorist to a whole new level.
Have that extra stat boost, so
All right, I'm sorry.
it'll make
Last
siege
stroke, last
a
stroke.
little easier. You can't turtle quite as hard.
Well, last season we did buff their damage output a
Yeah.
good bit. We wanted to make them threatening, but we don't want them to just be sitting there too long through very long engagements.
Got it.
Sieging has always been.
They need
something
smoke
that
grenades now.
Players can struggle with.
Imagine you could
So,
smoke
as
grenade
part
off
of-
like
it's a
choke
good
points and
tie-in to the
smite.
Runic Bomb. We wanted to give more opportunities for ways to break through sieges and avoid stalemates.
Yeah.
The enhanced fire giant being one of the most well-known ways to do that. That's going to still be on this map.
That's cool though.
Now the
That is
slightly
cool.
decreased tower health, tower bastions mechanic, as well as the
Smoke
Runic
nade
Bomb
Thorol.
are additional ways to help your siege.
What's up, third?
Yeah, I'm sorry. The map is just beautiful. And I also saw
Add Jesus with a gun and grenades. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Look how cool dual lane is.
Yes.
The art.
Yeah, and those of you who remember the season 2
Smoke
map,
them, burn
remember
FG,
the
yeah.
beach. A lot of people wanted the beach to come
Julio
back.
buff? Yo!
Statue of like a Greek hero. Oh, we should have played the Kepri.
You can't say that.
Part.
That was funny though, but you can't say that.
But yeah, cool. So all right, let's wander back into the jungle. So what are unleashed jungle camps?
Whew, this is a big one.
Good Zero Blade.
This is a big one,
All right,
Harrison.
we're
All right, here we go. They're gonna
Yeah,
leash the
so
camps.
What we've got here, we talked about the lanes and a lot of the objectives, but how about jungling, or how about your gameplay moment to moment? How is that going to change in the new map? We wanted to
big.
find an interesting mechanic.
Should I tweet that? Can I steal your
one in every role?
steal your
What
message?
you
Nop,
can now do
nop, nop.
is you can pull jungle camps anywhere you want.
Hades buff.
Asterisks. There are a few disclaimers. Yes, side effects may include. So they will de-aggro after a certain amount of time if you get too far away from them or don't attack them.
Yeah.
They can be re-aggroed. You can see the details on that in the patch notes.
Bye.
They also, you cannot pull enemy jungle camps. You can't run into
Because
the
we're
enemy
side.
side.
Sigmas, so we can handle
Pull
it,
all
Scoutmaster.
camps back to your side.
Okay.
So
Or
if
the
you
contestable ones as well.
right,
'cause
or
that
the
could be too
contestable
strong.
one. So only allied camps.
Unfortunate, Astro. Thank you for the 3 months, though.
Out of the location.
Glad you
But
figured it out.
When pulled out of the location,
Appreciate you.
use that
And
to
Aqua, thanks for the 5
up.
months.
You can use that to
Welcome back.
deliver buffs to your laners without
Appreciate
them
it.
having to go places.
Yeah.
It gives a lot.
You can
of
drag it into your
uh,
tower as
it gives
well.
what we've seen mostly in our playtesting, it gives junglers some really interesting ways to min-max their clear. if you can pull camps really effectively and clear them all together. It gives supports some new roles, and then they can go pull buffs and deliver them to lanes.
That's crazy.
And the jungler can also kind of do that as well.
Also, very curious to see how the start of the game is going to start fleshing out, because there's so many different ways you can do this now.
Yes, and the initial spawn order of operations is going to be listed in the patch notes, and the order of things is going to change, right? We've got different things in different
All right, I
places.
stole the tweet.
We've got speed buff. We get to all these, I guess, over time, but the start of the map is definitely going to change, and one of the ways that's going to change the most is now we can have different players have collaborative elements.
That is wrong. I can't believe you.
Clearing together and then going to their lane, or whatever order they find to be most efficient. So really excited to see people get into PTS and start trying to figure that puzzle out.
I think one of my favorite. I mean, there's so much to this. There's so much nuance in the roaming jungle.
Of course,
and the Unleashed ones, but one of my favorite parts is like as a mid laner, I no longer have to like run to my red to the jungle trying to clear my red buff. They can't be like, hey, I cleared it. I'm sorry you didn't get here in time. They can now bring it towards me.
Yo, they can at least meet you halfway.
Exactly. I'll make some effort. You got to make some effort.
Which
like
some junglers still won't. They won't.
Oh no.
100%.
But the good ones will be like, hey, it's by your tower. You can just go back.
That
to
is
it.
plagiarism.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So.
And there's a couple other specific rules to make sure that things stay balanced. So lane minions and jungle camps, unleashed jungle camps, will ignore each other. You can't pull those into lanes to kind of deny lanes or slow down lanes or help you clear towers or anything like that. Towers will attack them though, so you could use that if your jungle clears is
Anyway.
actually not so good. But you
Finesse, thank you for the 5 months, dude. Welcome back. Thank you, Finesse.
Last hit that you missed.
Yeah, I was seeing something.
Say, what's going on here? You're being
I got ahead
pursued.
of myself a little bit when I said roaming, because this is the other feature that's there from the dead back harpy camp spawns. You can actually get roaming harpies that actually going to be moving around that camp.
No. Julio's a beast.
Dynamic experience inside the jungle.
That's fine, Julio's. He'd probably laugh.
That's incredible. So you can literally just be roaming through on your clear and be like, oh, there's a harpy. I guess I'll just grab that while I'm here.
That's right, Lizard.
Right. So experimenting with roaming camps is something we're really excited.
The roaming
about.
camp's interesting. I remember learning about that a few months ago.
Something
A couple months ago.
Definitely play with as we go through the seasons in the future. Always something we've discussed. So these roaming harpies will spawn from the back harpy camp, and they will path around that camp in a scripted path. So
What is this little chest? Have they hit the chest
Pay
yet?
attention to the mini map. There as indicators on up to 3 of them can spawn, and the back harpy. So all of them can be spawned at once. You can actually sweep through and scoop up.
No more
6
obelisk?
harpies all at once if you plan it perfectly.
There's, like you said, so much nuance to this. And one thing I want to double back to a little bit is, aren't the buff timers for those the like unleashed jungle camps? Isn't there some new rules about what the buff timers look like?
Daniel just means he's
there's
playing
one
next
sense we
year.
moved
Doesn't mean we're not
the
playing together.
locations Now we wanted to add some more forgiving elements there. So
super helpful.
yeah, now buff camp. I mean, the
I can only
TLDR
hit
is
3
buff camps will
targets.
Stay on the
I
ground
know.
longer than they did before. Which everyone I know watching this show, everyone. has
Yeah, Johnny, I feel better.
been
Still
1 foot
stuffy
away
and
from
stuff,
jungle
but
buff
Oh,
before
yeah.
it goes away,
That happens,
right?
like, once a
So
Okay, Hawk.
What's going to be longer? That's
okay,
gonna
sounds
happen
good.
less.
I hope not.
But
I hope
the
to see you
important thing
soon.
to note is that they
Later.
will eventually relocate back to their spawn point if left there for too long.
Right.
So
So this is an unleashed red buff camp that's been killed far away from the camp, and it's going to stay there for a small period of time, and then afterwards it'll actually relocate back to the normal red camp spawn. So there it
and
is.
still stay there for an even longer period of time. So
Yep,
it's a
exactly.
very long time to pick that buff up. You're not gonna.
Got it.
You're generally not gonna miss it entirely ever. You might
Yeah.
have to go back to the location. or
You hear
something
that,
like
guys?
You're not gonna miss it.
Yeah,
Your jungler can no longer
it's
grief
like
you.
Said, your jungler's like, hey, couldn't drag it out to you, dropped it in the area. You're like, cool, I'll go get it. You start an engage.
The buff will no longer
right away.
just despawn after 30 seconds.
Tendency to be like, all right, cool, engage is over.
Oh, they'll try. You guys will try.
Super cool to hear.
Right.
Whew, all right, well, I mean, we got to keep going. We've talked.
These
about
rat buffs are insane. Am I right? Oh my god.
About Cyclops and anything cool?
Oh.
I hear we got some
Yeah,
Cyclops. changes.
Another throwback.
Another throwback.
One of my favorites.
I was not loved as a child.
I'm sure our jungler here has passed one or two of them. And
one
yeah,
around.
someone probably
Yeah.
saw them.
Might have
People watching the
There we
show.
go.
So there are these treasure chests hidden in the jungle. Notice they don't have mini-map icons.
True.
But they do have a few set spawn locations, and they can spawn throughout the jungle. When you destroy one, you'll get a buffing area that gives you movement speed.
Huh.
So, and some gold.
Yeah.
Now, as you kill more of those, there might be a little surprise waiting for you.
Nice. What good timing.
I
man.
know,
That's
right?
perfect.
So on the third one,
Are they killing it? I wasn't looking.
destroy
Fuck.
a Cyclops rogue will ambush you, who's also going for the gold.
That's so
Will ambush you
cool.
and attack you out of the chest. And these are Cyclops characters that were, old characters that
Yeah.
used to be on the map a long time ago. We wanted to
Look at that thing up
like
there.
I
It looks
said, we
cool.
tried to find some ways to hide some old Easter eggs and some fun stuff from the early days of Smite. So the Cyclops character will pop out of the chest and will chase you and fight you, and then therefore he'll be worth a little bit more than the normal one, and you can reposition
Yeah, I
that
mean-
buffing area
Yeah.
to be in a more convenient location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're treasure hunting.
I was about to say, yeah, it's literally a treasure hunt because they're hidden around the map. So that's cool, though. You got a little somebody else is treasure hunting alongside you, and I'm happy that you're doing better than them.
I was gonna say,
Can they
one
find
thing
it? I wanna see
about
it.
This as well is that this is not just a conquest mode feature. The rogues are going to be appearing on multiple of the different game maps.
Now the other maps are smaller, so they're going to be easier to find, which is okay. We actually placed them in what we thought were pretty,
Use your
obvious
wall
locations
hacks or something. Go find it.
really likely to
Yeah, he needs to
find
dash
in
for
the
sure.
jungle rotation.
Yeah.
And in the other maps that are smaller, more open, they'll be very obvious, right? So they're essentially just a new contestable mechanic for those other maps. And in those
Yo,
other maps,
ult,
it's also
bro.
interesting because that speed buff
Go in the air and look for it. Dash
really
around.
valuable in those other maps because you have a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
more players in a lot closer area.
I like the art though.
Use
The
it.
art's really cool. I don't know if
So
you guys
can
are
run
liking
into
it,
more
but
frequently.
it's looking good.
If you manage to get it in arena, your whole team pretty much has that effect very often.
Yeah.
Whereas
you
in
can dash
Conquest,
through
it's going to
it.
be.
Ooh,
used
look
more
at the
by your
door.
support,
The
your
door
jungle
looks so
is
nice.
rotating, maybe someone's trying to get back to base.
A roving
there's a
gank, just
right.
all kinds of, yeah.
Exactly. So it's a little bit more specific in its application in Conquest, but in the other game modes, it can be a very.
The
big
jungle
personalized
looks very
experience.
jungly.
That's super cool. Well, as the treasure hunt continues, we've talked about mid
This
harpies,
jungler, man.
back harpies.
Jungle
What
diff.
about some of the buffs, just in general?
You literally
What
can't find
changes
it.
Have come to the buffs across the
Already
map
bugged.
beyond just their timers and being able to drag them around.
Let's see. So we do have a couple changes to buffs. The purple buff is no longer going to be have the.
Now he starts dashing around to get to
effect
purple.
that- what is it? Makes you immune or hit into minions
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah,
like
aggro.
that.
It looks very jungly.
Yeah, so it's no longer going to
Aggro components. Clumsy just said
It
it.
is still going to have a dot damage that it applies to you as its special ability effect.
Yeah.
It is now.
It's actually
gonna
a
be more
crazy
focused on being a
coincidence,
hunter
not gonna lie.
So
Right
we
when aggro
changed
types of
it
chat, he says aggro.
Back to the purple buff from the void buff.
Darkov, thanks for gifting a
In
sub
the
to
map
Ryan
icon, it's now a sword
Bailey.
instead of a shield.
Welcome,
And
aggro.
the buff
Appreciate
has,
it very much.
Now is going to have 10%
Dark is the
attack
dark
speed
goat.
and increased magical basic attack damage and physical basic attack damage. So it is really
Okay.
more of a specific hunter buff.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Hunter
similar
buff.
visuals because it's still the purple buff, purple monster, and love, but it is a very different design, more designed for hunters.
Got it.
Especially with the green buffs.
Deacon, thanks for 30, dude.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
we've got a
Hell yeah.
Treasure Chest.
Oh, here it is. Let's see.
Cyclops Rogue be in this one.
This was
No.
the second one.
Thank you, Deacon. Welcome back.
You have to take 3 on the same side.
Where are we right now? There. Okay. Right.
Learn Me
You're in.
has
Are
been.
you invading
We've
right
been
now?
invading a lot of
Okay.
them.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is Learn Me the one who's doing it?
That's the second one on,
On
On this
this
side. So
side.
it's based on the side. That's good to know, though.
And if you notice as well, which
Army's the pilot of the rat.
Opposite, on each team. So that
Come
way
on, they're edging
one
us,
you can
guys.
Kind of tell where the enemy's one is if you
They're
feel
literally
like
edging us with these chests.
you feel like a kind of a disadvantage that one is like in a more favorable location.
Oracles are on the opposite side of
Order and
gold.
Chaos always will have the same number of them in the same spot.
That's interesting.
Cool, cool. Let's continue down the buff path. So what
What's up,
about,
Steelo? How are ya?
Red buff. Is that any changes to red buff?
Red buff is gonna be decreased health. That's an important one. So there's a lot of balance changes as
Yeah.
people will read in the patch notes. We're not gonna go over every single.
Oh,
one.
no,
Keep in mind
Dest,
there's a
I'm
lot of
sorry.
Small changes.
It's my fault.
The short.
Not
explanation
too much
that
yet, Snack.
new map,
It's really cool looking, though.
different number of camps
Different
and
stats
spaced
and
out in
camps.
different places. So in general, we wanted to keep kind of the total golden experience pacing on this map feeling pretty similar to the way it was last year, but it's very different in its allocation.
I was about to say, somebody allow that.
So in order to balance that, there's small changes to the golden XP rewards of a lot of different jungle camps as well as the lane minions, things like that. Because in general, things are a little bit more spread out, a little bit harder to get actually.
Got it.
So
okay.
things are generally worth a little bit more. And we've also done some very
Look at the path.
buffs and nerfs
Chat.
to specific, damage
Speed,
and health. So like one of the
backs,
ones that was important
blue,
here is
like,
the buff holder
on a
of the
line.
red buff getting decreased health.
And then red is right
Make
next to
sure mages can clear it without
mid.
taking too much damage from that a special ability.
My issue
Also,
is since blue doesn't have
we already
CDR
nerfed
anymore,
that. We
late
already nerfed
game,
that once, right?
why
I
wouldn't
don't
you?
think
You're
that's
just going to
gonna
take one of these speeds.
Berserk ability.
Jungle will take the other
That's
speed, you'll
all.
take the other speed, or you
That's
even
already
take
been nerfed,
red.
but we're nerfing the total health of it a little bit more.
Got it. So with a lot of these buffs, like you said, if you want all of the information,
As a soul laner, I'm saying.
that'll have because things have changed: health, experience, gold.
Wait,
the number of
I gotta put on deodorant. I'll be right back.
A lot of that's cool, but you can read that on the notes. I think another big notable change with the buff camps is actually the speed buff. Right? That definitely had a change as to where it was split into 2 camps. There's 2 speed buffs now, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so why 2 speed buffs instead of just the 1?
Well, more speed.
More speed. Hadn't thought about that. I'm sorry I asked.
I think one of the absolutely that's definitely going to be important is more speed.
Yeah,
but
more
also
speed.
just putting on both sides of the map kind of changes the onus for the assassin, the jungler to.
Warriors still get CDR from blue? No, they don't. They just get CDR in their kit now.
The left one or the right
Nobody
one.
gets CDR from blue anymore. It just gives mana. The CDR is from the little contestable buff in the middle of the lane.
Deterministic that the jungler is going to be focusing.
There's class benefits now,
Happens to be where their speed buff is.
and the class benefit for Warriors is they get CDR.
Harder to read the enemy jungler, and you can now change.
Guardians get CCR, I believe.
Desires.
Hunters get
Exactly.
Or
attack
even
damage.
the role of the character you're playing. That makes sense because it could be like well,
Mages
I'm playing
get power, I
a little
think.
more. I'm playing an assassin, so
Assassins
I
get something. Flat pen? I don't know.
For
I
each
forget.
player of these camps, as to where if you're playing somebody a little tankier, more of a warrior, you'd start on the other side because that gives you the chance to interfere with the. It's just I like that. The different
Turn that up a little more.
kind of makes you unreadable.
They're at max, bro. I mean, I can turn up the volume booster more, but it's it's having a
So
DR
this buff is
effect.
no longer going to have a crowd control function on it, but it is going to be. We have another chest. Let's see.
There
There
we go.
it
That's the
is.
third one on your side, and we spawn the Cyclops thief.
This is definitely the coolest looking Cyclops, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Not the
There it
only
is, so
guy
it's
we can
finally got it.
mechanic in this way, but yeah, that one's really cool. So now you've got the speed buff location right by your lane there.
Oh, that's kind of
and
cool. A
That'll
little
persist for a
bracer
while, and you can
effect.
Go back and use it anytime.
That's really cool. You can drag them to the location. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So, man, we have talked about
That's
so
pretty
much
cool.
with this map. Obviously, there's a lot of numbers. There are a
More
lot of
interactive
things
stuff.
changed and
There is a lot of
scaling.
numbers on those
So many
notes.
numbers.
We
Turn
wanted to make
yourself
sure
down
we
a little
provided
bit. I don't want
everything
to.
for
I wanna be
documentation
louder than
reasons
them.
and for people to analyze fully.
I wanna talk
Yeah,
over
we're
them.
Not going to talk about all that right
Yeah,
now.
it would take us. This would be a 7-hour event. We'd have to have a break and popcorn and just a whole thing. So if you want to see all of that, make sure to check out those update notes
No
because
popcorn?
painstaking.
Could go
Not
for some
here, it's in the
popcorn.
back. But painstaking detail, you will see everything. You can see how the lane minions are scaling now every 3 minutes or whatever. Like, all the information is there. But before we leave this map, is there anything else that y'all would like to highlight or anything else that you'd want to say?
See, a couple more small changes. Green buff has been changed in its location. It's very close to mid lane now.
Yep, it's also no longer going to be freezing your ally buffs that they have on them. So you can see that's kind of a theme for a lot of these different jungle camps. We've lost the AI, like aggro component.
Let me turn myself down a little bit.
The freezing component, we've lost the cooldown on blue, but that was shifted between silver and. We've got
Actually,
green
can I?
buffs.
A lot of give and take.
A lot of give and take.
For
Yeah.
various specific reasons. Also, we have the Tree Folk character holding the green buff now too, which is very appropriate and a very cool character.
Very cool character. I was
We
about to say.
also
That should be good.
have the blue buff, as we called out a little bit earlier when we were talking about the solo lane. Blue buff is no longer going to give cooldown reduction.
No, they haven't.
just
Hopeless.
mana.
Yeah.
Thank you for the 18. Welcome
So
back.
that's going to
Thank
make
you,
that
thank you.
contestable buff especially valuable. It's going to make warrior builds have to consider their changes, and when we get to later in the patch, we'll talk more about that.
Yeah, it also has an aggro component so that when you do hit an enemy god, you also regen some of your mana. So it's
You
kind of
too,
like-
JDM. Appreciate it.
Now, as y'all continue,
Think
talking,
Friday probably
one more thing
finesse.
I want to see as y'all put in the final notes is like, can we see the fountains? I'm sure the fountains changed in this. I want to see the 2 fountains.
Oh, the bases.
Have they didn't really show
I don't
FG,
think
did
we
they?
have.
The bases are a huge environmental change. I'm glad you called them out. They're
Wow, that's
interior
cool.
spaces now.
You're in a building.
And they're high enough up that any flying god is not going to get in the way, that's one of the reasons why we picked Ratatoskr as our guide to the map, because it's also very lore fitting and because he has some of the
Oh,
best
wow,
air
that's
control, and we
That
can
is
really
massive.
take our time and appreciate up there. But both bases have interior structures now. It feels so cool
that
to
Argus?
enter into the enemy's base.
Some
Some
It's
of these details I haven't even
so
noticed.
Argus
much
holding up.
intricate
Crazy.
artistic detail. Yeah, the statues of Argus called out.
I actually didn't notice that until now. That's awesome.
Statues of our new
What
frog
is-
friend.
What?
That is really cool looking.
Go away
so
for holiday
cool.
and suddenly everything just like wow.
yeah,
Yes,
I know. Right?
shout out to the DKO crew. They have a frog friend. We have
Oh.
really cool windows into the floor,
like
glass
see-through
floors that you can see through.
Windows into the floor. Ajax, what is that called?
Absolutely killing it.
Always knocking it out of the park. I mean, again, this is an entirely new map. Yeah, let's rush over and see if we can sneak into the other side, the enemy base, real quick. But it's just
can do it.
Oh, I know Ratatoskr can.
We still have the base gates. Yeah, that's good to note.
But yeah, and I like how the base gates. I saw this earlier, but the base gates obviously reflect the side of the map they're on. On that side, they're more built. They're established. They're regal. And on this side, they're a little more like big stone slabs that are just like.
Argus Satch's
Interior
here started
of
here.
the
Sorry in
Chaos
advance.
Space is, yeah, the mythical beast cave. As you can see that giant skull on the top, and then more
Wow.
skulls and bones.
That
in
is
here.
cool. What is that? What is that?
And an amber fossilized floor.
Did you guys see
And
that?
Some updates to the Chaos Titan here.
There was like
he was
little
very
portal.
regal and proper in his Tiamat base, and he's gone a little bit more feral and
Oh,
dark
love it.
Oh yeah.
to match his new base.
And then,
Oh,
yeah,
that's where the
amber
minions spawn
scroll
from?
below
Oh,
the
okay,
floor,
fuck.
That's incredible. Oh,
That
man.
is
the
cool
bases,
looking.
I'm glad we
at
saved
that.
those for last because they're really like the. I mean, there's so much cool stuff on this map. But the solo lane exterior.
I feel like it
space
should
and
come
dual
from
lane
somewhere a
exterior
little
space,
bit more on this side because
lava
it comes
fields
from.
and
It looked like
beach
it was
are
like a
beautiful.
path to like a building.
The order in Chaos
Right there, it
Space,
didn't
though,
really
probably
look
my
like it was
favorite
leading
part of the
anywhere
whole
besides
map.
like a cave.
Gives you such a unique feel when you spawn into your base, when you leave it out
Like
into
it,
the
Bria?
jungle and out into your lane to fight, and when you're sieging. And it's just gorgeous.
And like you said at the very beginning, kind of harkens
doors are
back
really
to, like,
cool.
what, season 0, like the oldest
Closed
of the
beta
map,
was the
closed
only
beta,
ones you could go
exactly, it was
inside. Yeah, it was back in
Look at
closed
that.
beta.
I
Which
That is
definitely
cool.
got some of the nostalgia vibes when we first loaded.
Which a
into
lot of
this
people
map.
might have
Big-ass
forgotten
cave.
about too, but we had the classic conquest
Yeah,
event this year.
exactly.
So
Brought that
little
back.
reminder, but yeah, overall it just feels and looks really cool. We have new tower art, which you might have noticed. These are completely new models.
Man, just again, the amount of changes, it's a book. It's a phone book. You're really going to have to sit there and read through it. So, obviously, though, make sure to queue in, especially in PTS. Queue in and just walk around the map.
I don't know
Take
when
all
it
in,
drops.
Soak in the sights.
PTS is Friday,
you
I'm
know,
pretty sure.
Play Apollo and fly around the map as much as you can. Just super exciting stuff. Well, yeah, is there anything else before
It looks like it does, but maybe
One
when
really important
they'll
balance change.
spawn
There's a
on
couple
the
other small
tier 2
things
when
about
you kill the
respawn
tier 1.
timers and base doors. We can you can read about those in the patch notes. And
Got it.
the initial timer, we lengthened a little bit of the time at the beginning of the match so people have time to prepare on the new map.
Cool.
But an really important thing to note is that Hand of the Gods
Oh, yeah,
consumable
that's a big one.
is going to be removed.
Whoa.
Nice.
This was causing some contention at the pro level about being
Good.
mandatory and forcing very linear strategies
Good,
that
it was stupid.
required you to go certain places, certain times. It just really conflicted with a lot of our goals with Unleashed camps and opening up the starts and creating a lot more
Yeah, I
flexibility.
have no
and
idea,
more
Solar
skill
Throw.
expression. So
I have no idea,
that
bro.
item's gone.
Thank you for the
And
6
with
months.
Invader's Curse as well, we have like
Welcome
more
back.
mechanisms to make sure that you feel safer on your side of the map.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, cool.
Yorm looks pretty good
I
because
mean,
you can
we could talk about
throw
this
your
map all
pools
day and find
day.
more
Yeah, we have
on the
interesting
bastions.
details. There was some callbacks
And the
to
totem.
old assets hidden across the map. There's a lot of mythological details and callbacks to our community and to the game throughout the map. So really, going to be excited to see people explore that on their own. But
Yeah, for those of you who have been here for the long ride, tweet at us, take screenshots and compare and show us all these secrets that you find, because it really is, this map is a testament to 10 years of an incredible game with an incredible community, and it's just the beginning of what we have to talk about today. So super excited for it, but unfortunately we got to keep moving. There's so many things
and we
to
have
talk
way more.
about.
We have way more stuff to talk about,
Way
right? And a
more
lot of
stuff.
stuff that's
Way
really exciting.
more.
So I mean, I'm excited to get into this next section.
All right, cool. Well, I mean, how about we move on to the next section then? We got some ranked stuff coming up. So what do we got in the world of ranked stuff? We got
All right,
Well,
let me
we
get
have
out.
one
Actually,
really big.
am I in the way?
one really big rank change.
Oh, I
We have
am.
more rank changes,
Here, I'll
but
move
one
up
that's
here.
really big, and that is that all ranked modes are going to be full crossplay
Okay,
in year 10.
Whoa.
Yes.
They're also going to be hard reset, which is very important. I think a lot of the friction in crossplay came from merging people of different skills, different play styles.
Yeah.
But with a hard reset, everyone starts at
At the
the
Nothing to talk
same
about,
starting
Crispy.
point,
Yeah.
right? So from day one of 10-1 ranked, you can have console players and PC players playing together, playing against each other on every team.
That's crazy.
And we'll see who can rise to the top.
Good luck, Big
All
Z.
the way, yeah.
Maybe some players who are used to being masters might have a harder time getting there in the new season. Maybe they will prove us wrong and the console players shall reign supreme.
Yeah.
Really, anything is possible.
Duke
I
you.
mean, that's just huge. So
Yeah.
super excited to
Maybe.
see that.
So some important additional notes about that. I don't want to undermine how big of a change this is, right?
Yeah,
we know it's
no,
very
please,
important.
continue.
So we've got a lot of advocates on the Olympians squad, as well as from influencers and other pro players who are interested in this. It really expands the overall matchmaking pool of ranked by a huge amount.
Yeah.
That's so important.
The console ranked scene is large, So that gives more players the opportunity to play with the best of the best if they can get their MMR up high enough to play with them.
Yeah.
It also gives a larger
Influencers,
casual pool of players to make sure those matches
do you
are
say
as close
that?
as possible.
Yeah.
And as they play, the MMR system will shake things out and move people to their appropriate places. So a lot of big effects that can have.
That doesn't mean we're not playing together, Crispy.
And,
That just means he's playing
this
next
is just,
year.
I think
Everyone's
going to
be open to offer.
Yeah.
We've been wanting it
general.
internally, but we wanted to make sure we did it the right way at the right time, and this seemed to be the way that it all lined up.
I mean, year 10 is the big kickoff. It's so many things. We're just going for it. We want to show more than anything that we're appreciative of the 10 years that we've had so far, and that it's only the beginning. It only gets bigger and bigger from here, really.
So then the other change is the God leaderboards. People have had a hard time acquiring those top-level orders. And we've done some tinkering with the formula and the system and the numbers and things like that, and it was difficult to get that to balance out for all the different gods, that some that get tons of play, some that get much less play, different modes. There was a lot of variability there. So we've kind of adjusted this system to be a lot more consistent, and that is just that based on your leaderboard position, that's what border you're going to get. So if you're the top 10 Thor player in the game, you're going to have a Master's border.
Got it.
No matter where your rank is at, no matter what your individual Thor MMR is, you're going to get that Master's border. And this is going to update dynamically. So if you're not playing that god for a while and people pass you, you're going to get bumped down. So you have to be at the top for the
I hope this
Masters,
finally works.
in that middle for the diamond, the bottom of the leaderboard for platinum. And every
broken for
player
far too
who
long.
Just meets the requirement gets that gold border. So even if
That's
you
right, Loyal.
can't make it on the leaderboard, you can still.
Although
earn
I
that
think
gold
number
border
one
that you
should
can
have
show
like
off
a.
of other, you
The
can
number
show off
one
your
should have
console
a
or your conquest
thing,
ranked border.
Masters for 1 through 10 is
normal
cool, but
conquest.
number one should be like
So
a
you can say,
fucking.
I'm a ranked player,
Yeah,
big
I
deal,
flex.
Like,
I don't know.
I'm just here to practice and warm up.
Something extra crazy.
Clumsy's genuine laugh at that, like little cheeky
that was
impression
pure
I did,
joy.
whatever. Yeah, so that's just something for everyone to go out and achieve.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to have a skill expression part of it, but we also wanted something that just everyone could go out and achieve.
Awesome. Good to hear it. Well, the only other thing in the ranked area is that there are obviously ranked quest rewards, and you can read all about those on the patch notes. But if you're playing and winning games, and they're there on the bottom of the screen, you'll be winning rewards. So
An enchanted diamond,
play,
perhaps.
play to win, earn some cool rewards along the way.
What's up,
Have a good
Sentry?
time with it.
Also, as we have been doing now, the ranked skin will be available.
Oh, you're saying GM
Yeah, right away. So
Grandmasters.
if you hit
So you're
the
saying good
requirement to
morning.
earn the ranked skin, which is the
What's up,
Berserker
Switch?
Rama skin, then you got it right away.
A little shout out to the season
A little bit,
2
Chris.
ranked was Berserker Uller.
So you're gonna unlock?
yeah.
Okay,
So
some
another little
rewards
nostalgia
for playing
Berserker
ranked.
Rama
That's cool.
for year 10.
Cool.
Win 50 ranked games
Alright,
each split to earn
let's
50
move on
gems.
into some normal game mode changes. How about it?
That seems a little
looks like there's a lot
a
of
little
stuff,
low.
starting with the way the queue systems are working. It looks like.
Yeah, this is another big one.
That is a
So
big one.
we are changing normal queues back to be non-timed queues. Ranked
Okay.
queues will remain timed queues. So what that means is that these queues will no longer have a specific time for how long they're going to be.
The countdown
You're just
bug,
going to
got
queue
it.
them, and they're going to count up.
Got
And
it.
they'll pop whenever they're ready,
Okay.
and you will need to accept that queue pop. You won't be able to just decline for free,
Yeah.
like you used to be in the current mode. A lot of people will be familiar with the system from some
the
earlier
past,
years
yeah.
of Smite.
Did people prefer
The
that
main
or
advantages of this system? There's two. One is
this
that
one or the one we
multi-queue
just
will
had?
get to return, which I know
Which
a
is
lot of
really
people are
nice.
excited about. So you
Yeah.
can queue for many modes at once and let the matchmaker sort it out where you want to go.
That's cool.
The other change that's really important about this is it gives us a lot more flexibility in what we can do with our matchmaking.
yeah.
Time queues had a lot of advantages. I mean, they were nice because they're very consistent, but that also makes them very rigid. Time queues did not have a lot of
multi-queue,
flexibility
that's
for
kinda cool,
how
though.
We can match players together.
So now
how
you
we
can queue
wanna
for an
do
arena
things.
slash
Not time queues
assault,
when the queue pops, we
and
make
just
the best
whatever
match
one
we
is the
can.
fastest, you'll get
And if
that
we make
game.
a bad match, we could say, well,
That's one benefit
we
of
did our
doing it
best,
like
and so
this.
the time was up, and that's all we got. But with this type of matchmaking, we can really spend a lot more time, and we are going to spend a good bit of time this year making.
They did, Bria.
level
That's how it
changes
used to be.
that matchmaking system to continually update and experiment on this. So the important thing to note is that this is going to be ongoing. This is something we're going to be adjusting throughout the year. This is something that for the first week of 10.1 might be even different from week 2 or
Yeah.
10.2, etc. We want to test this, see how things go, and we're going to be very open
Yeah, I
with
remember
the
Aggro.
community with their feedback. Maybe time.
I think
queues
I preferred
come
that,
back at
but
some
I think
point,
maybe the
and
only
some-
thing
maybe there's a
people
better
are be sad about
combination
is that
way
they
things
could
to do
desert or
to
if
do
they
that, but
decline.
we really wanted in year 10 to actually be able to make more changes to how the matchmaking system works.
Yeah.
And in the very rigid timed queue system, we really can't do that. It's just a linear list of top to bottom at the time. No way to extend a little bit of time. Oh, we have 9 of 10 masters. Maybe we wait a little longer.
Paints.
Nope, time queues can't do that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
You either
Paints,
wait the
that's
whole
funny.
thing or you
Good
go.
job.
Yeah.
So we have a lot more flexibility with the system. I'm really excited
Flexibilia.
to see what we can do.
Awesome.
I don't
Just an
know.
incredible amount of changes, honestly. I mean, the map
This is
is
pre-recorded?
huge,
Did you
the
guys see
link
that?
code, the queues, so many things, and we're just
Hacker,
at
is
the
this
beginning of the
pre-recorded?
show. We still have so much to talk about, and I'm actually joined here now by a familiar face, Titan Clumsy, and another familiar face who just wasn't here a second ago, Titan Lermy. So welcome aboard. So
Hey.
I mean,
This
we
is
have more stuff to talk
pre-recorded.
about. Balance is not over yet, and we're gonna dive right into it, starting with some brand new.
That was
additions
that was too
to the
weird.
Item World. Shard
What the hell?
So take it away.
Yeah, so
Not that it matters.
we keep saying there's so much going into this year.
There is.
I'm not going to keep going the preamble.
All right, later,
on
aggro.
what we just went through, but items. There's so much going on in the world of the gameplay.
My
that
nose
we
is so
have in this
dry.
fight. One of the biggest new things.
The
coming
curtain's
up are,
pulled
like
back.
you said, shard relics. So
Yeah.
what are shard relics? You may have heard of
okay,
before,
okay.
the vision shard, right? That's
Yeah.
the kind of free relic
start
shard that
with
you
it,
got at the beginning.
Forget to throw a war.
That's funny.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
You kind of got that for safety. But now we're kind of expanding on that system. So we
Ooh,
have
okay, this is
shard
important.
relics,
Everybody
and
listen up
these
for
are
this.
Basically, different alternatives to the vision shard. So there's going to be 4 new shard relics that you can now choose from at the start of the game. So 4 new ones still have vision shard. That's still going to be.
I'd do it for free, Sylvia. You don't have to pay me.
And just like vision shard, you will now
We can
be able
message
to
about it.
Have these from the beginning of the game and then upgrade them again at level 12.
Okay,
So-
that's
Exactly.
cool.
And all of these
Shard
shards
relics.
Are based off of the
Free level
season of
1,
monsters
upgrade
report
at 12.
that we're starting with.
Yeah.
So you'll notice a little bit of a theming here that we've got some monster parts, things that you might go and collect if you've slain
Aggro, what
giant
happened to my
beasts or something.
relic
So
currency idea? Come on,
they're
that would have
really
been so
fun.
good.
I love you so
Pain,
much.
thank you for the 3 years, man.
All
I
of
really
these shard
appreciate it.
relics
Thank you,
kind of
dude.
Almost other than vision shard.
Thank you.
Like we said, the monster theme.
Yeah.
they also
In
designed
30
to
minutes,
have
Goose
kind of
Pie.
mini relic power plays, right? They have
Okay.
very similar goal in the sense that they're
kidding.
kind of 3-second buff debuff duration.
Yeah.
Monster
they have the
parts.
same 100
Hey,
point
yo.
cooldowns. So we wanted to see what players can kind of do with one main relic that they can choose out, still just like normal,
Yeah,
and
of
then
course.
these little mini skill.
You want to spend gold and let only spend extra
up to
currency?
level 12.
Yeah.
It would actually make it
Obviously,
easier,
definitely
aggro.
designed
Think about it.
to be
You don't have to
replaceable
figure out how
later on.
to spend your gold
You'll see
between
a
your
lot of
items and your
similarities between
relics,
these
when to
shard
upgrade
relics
them.
and maybe some
All
of
you
the
do is
stronger
upgrade your
shard
items when you
relics that
can,
Okay,
and then when you
cool.
get your
Well, I mean,
currency
do you wanna go
relic,
through
Yeah.
them
your
and-
relic
let's get
currency,
started.
Let's start
You
off.
upgrade
Obviously, we
that.
know about vision, so
Boom.
it's the same thing.
Makes it
but
easier.
how about a horn shard? There's a new one.
Yep. So horn shard.
I am
is
Sky
gonna
Agent,
be,
thank you.
Your non-ultimate ability cooldowns are going to be reduced
Got
every few ticks up to 3 seconds. So kind of like that meditation idea that you had.
Yeah.
On one of the upgrades from the relic blade. Now you're kind of getting those mini power plays.
So these are like
cooldowns.
little tiny benefits, right?
Yeah, right
Yeah.
off the bat. Super cool. All right, so
'Cause that
next
doesn't
up,
sound very
Claw
good.
Shard. How about that?
Ooh, Claw's a really fun one. Claw is bonus power, depending on whether you're magical or
Ooh.
physical. So this also has a very, very small scaling component, mostly to kind of differentiate this one from a later shard that
True.
we were talking about. But this
Yeah, for
one
sure.
is
was
really,
only-
really fun for if you have those big
only messed
burst
around
moments and
a
you want to
little
make
bit.
them even burstier. This is the shard to get.
Yep.
This is the shard to
Another
get.
component with it as
Did
well.
anyone-
You've also got a little bit of lifesteal and ability lifesteal.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
like
You can also
old,
use it to kind of sustain yourself
this is like
back
old
when you
whatchamacallit.
want to
Remember
stay
this
in the game.
item,
For one
guys?
more greedy play, right? You know,
Achilles
that
spear?
also,
Is that what it was
as a
called?
Caveat, because we kind of didn't mention it. Them being relics and items, they're going to be in all game modes. This is not just a
Yeah,
conquest thing.
exactly.
All game
New
modes.
gameplay.
Army
for
doesn't look like she want to be there.
Nice. All right, well, let's
Why?
keep going
I
down.
think
It looks
she
like we have
look like
a
she wants to be
wing
there.
shard in here.
Yeah, so wing shard.
She's just chilling.
quite simple. Movement speed.
She might be
attack
shy.
speed,
Makes sense.
kind of like the mini heavily
Spear of
in a
Achilles.
way. So
Yeah.
you're probably going to be changing it later on, but yeah, it's just the movement speed, attack speed, a lot more attack speed than movement speed because we know how valuable that can be.
Cool.
That
It's
is pretty
looking like
good.
the last of the new
40%
ones
attack
is,
speed for 3
Carapace
seconds?
Shard.
Yes.
Shell.
Now this one.
Throw that
is
on
really,
her.
really
He
fun
has a
to get
steroid
on
now?
sword specifically, because this is you activate it, and then you have the next 3 seconds to attack an enemy with a basic attack, and whoever you hit, their protections get stolen away and given to you. So not only are you making someone weaker, but you're also getting stronger.
The
So-
dive shard. All right.
That doesn't sound
It's
too
the most
strong.
unique one kind of out of the other ones.
Yeah.
Other than vision.
That
shard,
doesn't
but
sound
it's
very
also kind of
strong
got that
in-
Sunder
in
gameplay,
theory.
right? So
Yeah.
you're doing
Just
a little
based
bit
on,
of
like, who
active
you'd use it
component
on.
to get a buff for yourself.
Cool. Well, those are the brand new
Sorry.
shards, which I'm really excited. Again, just
No, you
another
can
way-
upgrade them at level 12.
We're seeing it so many times. I'm getting overloaded with information, right? Because we're seeing so many ways for players to get in and express themselves.
That's what it's about.
Their
skill
play
expression.
style. So I think that's really cool.
Could be, yeah, it
because-
could be a nice buff for like
yeah,
a gank or like blowing
as
up
somebody
a
who plays
tank or
a lot of
something.
Guardians, I'm going to be hopping in there like, all right, 120 seconds has passed or whatever, I can dive now.
Absolutely. And talking about the game modes thing, I think what's important there is that you can still get Vision Shard if you want to just be careful.
I think I would just rather have
Yeah,
50% movement
but
speed, though.
Vision Shard's also not that useful in the other game modes.
It's just kind of
Like, if
strong.
you're in arena and you have Vision Shard, sure, you can go ahead and use it. You can finally get that one warded stat at the end of the game, right? But now with these other Shard relics, you can make a little bit more interesting power plays.
Exactly. And like you said, Vision Shard is still useful. If I know I'm playing against aggro in the jungle, well, I may still get Vision Shard.
Do you hear that,
The
aggro?
important thing is if you don't get Vision Shards in Conquest, buy wards. Just buy wards.
Yeah, just buy
Yeah,
wards.
Just buy
exactly.
wards. So, all right. Next up, it looks like there are some items that are going away in this season.
Yeah, it's like, let me get my water out because there's a whole bunch of
There's a
them.
whole bunch of them.
Get your S ready in chat because
Yeah,
That's
because
right.
it's been a long run. We've had a lot of new items and a lot of items, and with the beginning of the season, some items are seeing the curb. So
Okay. So
let's get into
a little
it.
bit of a preamble for this one.
All right.
Is the item store is changing quite heavily.
oh yeah.
Quite heavily.
We've seen a lot of feedback. We're 10 years in. We've done a lot of things to the item store. This is going to be a pretty heavy shakeup. When we were evaluating how we wanted to do that shakeup, one of the important things is we didn't want to just constantly add new items. So
Yeah.
sure,
Fake
we've done
news.
some reworks and stuff in the past. Maybe we even deleted a few items. But if we're going to just keep adding, if we want to keep going with Smite, these years keep going on, we're not going to just triple the item store. We understand how tough that can be for casual players as well,
Oh,
or
yeah.
even for invested players, as
Or
we
for new
keep growing the
players.
passive text, as we tend to do.
So I'm pretty
You know,
sure
we'll get to that in a little bit as well.
basically
So one
all
important thing is we wanted to reduce the kind of
items
item
with
store board.
power
What-
and
what
prots
you kind of can call, and we're going to choose
are
opportunity
gone
places with,
or
for
changed.
many different reasons that we chose these items.
So you
but
can't get items
if you
with
like some of the effects that are being
with
removed,
both.
you might see them on other items. You might see
So
them come
crab.
back again.
Yeah.
It's not to say they're going to be permanently removed forever, but we wanted to start with a new baseline. Just like
To be fair, some of them it was like they didn't have power, like Lotus Crown and Jade Emperor's Crown, or not Jade Emperor's.
But we just with so many new things, we figured
Was it Jade
we'll
Emp?
pull some stuff out. But I know we say it
One
like
with
every
20
single
power.
show, and we mean it every single show. We're listening
That's
to
like
y'all,
literally
so we're gonna
negligible
make these
magical
changes.
power.
We're proud of them. We think they're going to be awesome. You might not agree with all of them. Tell us the ones you love. 'cause
Okay,
we
Bria.
love hearing it. Tell us the ones you don't love or that you miss, because y'all's feedback is what drives us towards making these game-changing, great changes. So the word change is getting garbled. So let's get into the items being removed. Let's start it off. What are we
Okay,
losing?
so there are two entire item trees that are being removed:
And four.
the Imperial Helmet tree and the Enchanted Buckler tree.
Got
but
it.
we can get into that a little bit as well on the patch notes as well. If you read alongside, we wanted to really reinforce tree identities. So we've relisted kind of the goals for each of the trees. But specifically talking about the removed items, I mean, we can go through each of these. We're talking about the Imperial Helmet tree, so Celestial Legion Helm.
Got it.
Unfortunately, that's going to be
Oh.
removed.
Bye-bye.
Jade Emperor's
That
Crown,
item hasn't
again,
been
going along
viable
the
for a
entire
while.
tree, and Tyrannical Plate Helm, although you're going to see a little bit of a callback to that one again. I'm not sure Celestial Legion Helm or Jade Emperor's Crown if we have any favorites here, but some
I
people
mean, I
really
have to
like.
be a little bit biased, you know. The Jade Emperor can't build his crown anymore.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
true,
you're wrong,
that's true.
We might need to address that. Yeah.
Man, we're just missing hats now. All right.
Shifter Shields. That's
Probably
one that
Friday.
we always kind of toe the line on what's strong,
Sir
and what's not.
Philstein.
That one's going to be removed.
Yeah.
Void Shield. Runic Shield.
Void
also, that's
Shield?
gonna be gone. You're gonna
Void
see
Shield's been in the
different
game
ways
for
of kind of
9 years.
enhancing on magical protections
And Void
kind of
Stone.
combating those characters. So some of these themes again you might see come back. Oh no, Anchile, Ansile,
One of those.
Anchile.
Ansile, that's fine.
Nobody
It's one of
cares.
those 3 or 4 or 5. That one's going to be
Nobody
removed.
cares if you
Void Stone,
mispronounce is
similar
what I
kind of
mean.
vein as Void Shield.
Got
Only
it.
people who care that you
we chose some
mispronounce
of these
these
items
names
that
are
have a
like,
little bit, passive effects that
I
have
don't know.
kind of
They're
not
chronically
really worked out
online.
for us. Some hybrid items, and we're going to get
They're
to
like,
that in a second.
you're
so I wanna
mispronouncing my
point
made-up
out.
word.
Working on it, yeah.
Stone of Fall again in kind of that same tree with the Void Stone.
All words are
now
made
we're
up,
gonna shift
bitch.
gears a little bit. Ring of Hecate. That's going to be. I know it's kind of one of the more newer ones you could say, but with whether it's Bancroft or the Glyph, we've kind of seen.
You're like,
that
I've been
not
reading
as valued
Percy
as
Jackson
it
since
used
I
to
was
be, and we're gonna
3
see
years
some-
old.
Some new options maybe coming.
Please
in.
pronounce my mythological
Book of the
names
Dead.
correctly.
That one's actually going to be removed. Stone Cutting Sword. I think this was
My
one that was
grandpa
a little
died
bit,
to an
iffy. I know some people
Kalela.
really liked it.
How
its
dare you.
effects Was honestly either going to be kind of penetration based.
Revine's
so
Bulwark
you
lost its
can get
hope.
that kind of option elsewhere.
Why did
And
Bulwark get
again,
removed?
allows us to reintroduce or add new items to flesh out the stores in more interesting ways.
Yeah,
Now,
he's
we're
are fuming.
readdress that to
That's a good tweet too. I'm about to
Blackthorn
start
Hammers,
stealing
we're
all
talking
my
about the hybrid
chat's
items again.
tweets.
Yeah.
The sledge. Now that one was a tough one because we
That's a
still
shame.
love the idea of the sledge.
Why
Right?
by the sledge?
I know we're gonna, F's in chat for the sledge. But
Yeah, they're just removing all the,
Bulwark of Hope is gonna be removed. Hide of
hybrid
the
items.
Urchin. Oh, this one's interesting as well because how
Yeah.
did the urchin was one of the best items in the game, but it's also one that like people just didn't want to buy, and it was extremely variant based on obviously kills and assists.
Very difficult
So-
to get that item fully.
One of the best in the
Yeah.
game,
Conquest
maybe in
And
season.
if you're like playing any arena, and
2.
you're some sort of tank your character, and you didn't grow this, you're
Or
objectively
1.
making the wrong decision. But it's not really the most
Yeah.
fun one to
Yeah.
do. So again, making sure we incentivize fun.
Unless he
gameplay.
meant like
Which
arena
blade?
or
That was
slash.
removed.
Yeah, it's probably good in
Hyperminion
that.
line in the 10th iteration.
There's
was
none
also
left.
removed.
All the items are
Thinkable,
gone.
another fun item, but you're going to see some nod to this coming later on, so don't be
Yeah.
too sad about that. Shadow Steel Shuriken is also going to be removed.
Bro, we're gonna
Releasing
have, like,
some,
8 items to build
versions of
from.
that tree. And also alongside of these, so that's the last of the tier 3 items.
Yeah.
Alongside
When you
those,
sign them in
there's
the
gonna be
game when
many
fully
tier 2
stacked?
items that have been removed that are kind of connected to these tier 3 that weren't relevant anymore.
And
Yeah.
that may also.
I'd like to see the stats on that aggro.
That's like half the items.
That's a lot of items.
a
We were
lot of
talking- we were
items.
joking about it. That's a
That's
lot.
like 20 plus tier 2s and 1s.
But again, remember, we've got some
You
more stuff to
cannot
talk
build
about here,
items
in
this
that new
season.
items are coming, changes to old
Reworked
items are
items,
coming
yeah.
as well. So, you know, it's not gonna feel so empty. Don't worry.
Seen the
We got
stats?
you.
Yeah, I think we're kind of getting right into it.
Okay.
So
Oh, man.
it's gonna be the
All right.
first category because we kind of broke this down into categories.
What's
Yeah.
the
Hybrid items. We talked
interval
about that a little bit.
confidence?
We talked about the
Confidence
shields, we talked
interval
about
on
the
that
hammers,
one?
We talked about the stones and the crowns.
sample size big
Um,
enough?
One big goal that's
Was
gonna
there
be
any
going
bias
into this,
in the
this,
stat?
year 10 season.
Yeah, the
season
big
Perhaps
one,
only
though.
people
is
buying it were people that
idea of these hybrid items.
were
Hybrid items
smurfing and knew they were
have
gonna win
historically always
and get the
kind of been
kills for
solid
it.
Points.
Yeah.
Whether
Nah, I'm
they're
just
the
making
tier
shit
2
up.
versions from before or the current tier 3s.
Yo,
where
Lip Gloss, thanks for
they
Twitch
have
Prime. Welcome to the
a
Fonzo
mix
family.
between power, offensive
Appreciate
stats,
that.
and defensive stats. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what makes them hybrid items. And
I know
they're
my
either
sample
priced
size is
or
big enough.
statted accordingly to really purchase them kind of early on into the games. But that also made them really, really tough to balance, honestly, because that's what this is all about.
Wait.
You tend to see
Actually,
this in solo lane if you're going to be.
You
talking
said
about
when it's
Conquest
fully
or
stacked
Warriors
aggro.
anymore.
Of course it would be one of the highest winning items in the game when it's fully stacked, because the only games it does well in are the games where it gets stacked. So if it's not getting stacked and it has a negative win-loss in that's because they're not winning those games.
We're going to be having to choose. Now you're going to have to be choosing between power on these hybrid items because they're no longer any hybrid items. You could just say they're basically removed. It's going to be defensive or offensive options. You know, you're no longer going to have power and protection on the same
one
item
thing.
anymore.
Got
That's
it.
just not happening.
That was kind of implied. All
So
right, well, I'm
with that
stupid
in
then.
mind,
Let's
we've got
get in. We have so many changes. Yeah, let's
the
start talking about
stone
individual
rework.
cases.
So you want to go into this one, Larry? We'll talk about the stones.
Yeah, let's start this. Actually,
I'm
let's
so
go a little
sick.
bit more overarching here for a second.
You gotta
So,
give me a little bit
because
to
power
keep
is
up.
not sharing protection
Oh
anymore.
yeah, there's
There's
an
a
interesting
lot
note
of
here
a
too.
lot of switch ups that can happen. So if you're thinking
Oh,
the shields,
I see,
the
I see,
stones,
aggro.
they can be bought by any
Like old
class.
Rangda's mask.
Any class, physical or magical. So you could have Glad Shield Guardians. You could have
a really good point.
stone items on your warriors. It could be any of them. So that's the
Like,
first
I said it
very
earlier,
important
but can
thing we
Yorm
should
just
talk
throw
about
his
here is
pool
that,
on the
your build potential
the
is opened much
little
wider
penis thing?
Yeah,
What's it
for,
called?
for those of you in the soul lane and the
At the
support.
tower line.
Yep, absolutely. So the first one of these being a stone.
little stone.
Binding. We talked about the different hybrid items. We talked about.
I'm forgetting what it's called. You know what I'm talking about? The little tower,
Again,
like,
another design
protector
space
thing.
that is
The
a little bit-
bastion.
I know people almost.
So you
ask
just
for
you just
tier
sit
twos
in
to
the
come back.
totem.
It's not
You
as
sit in the
easy
totem
as
buff,
place
throw
to
your
go,
pool on the
especially
bastion,
if
and
you
just
talk
let it
about
one
hybrid
shot
items.
it.
You have to price them accordingly. If they're
You wanna do it,
either
Prots?
hyper
Yeah,
efficient
tell
or
that to
not
my
on
first
that.
item.
So stone binding is going to be brought
First
into
item,
tier 3. It's going to be
spear,
building off of Sage's
Book of
Stone.
Thoth.
And Druid Stone and Sage's Stone are going to be getting a little bit of a rework to their stats. And yeah, so for Stone of Binding, it's not going to be getting
Glad
a
Shield
massively different
Ardio.
passive. It's effectively still the same thing. It's just going to be scaled.
Soul Gem Glad Shield Ardio.
Got it. And
Yikes, that sounds
as we
broken.
continue, I'm going to be the broken record here and say there are a lot of numbers with this new season.
Yeah.
I know that the update notes are terrifying because you could like unlock your mouse's scroll wheel, flick it down, and then go make a pizza before it would finish getting to the bottom. But like, if you want the numbers, they are all there. You can follow along.
40
with
of
us
each
and get the
prot,
numbers, 'cause
250
we're not-
health.
They'll be on the bottom of the screen as best they can. But we're not going to talk about every single number because we don't want. We wouldn't want to be here till we're 50. So
Searching
just
out
going to be the
them.
broken record there for a
Everybody
second.
else
But yeah,
is
let's
physical
keep
and
moving
magical
on. We
by
got some
5
shields
plus
to
1
talk
per level
about
for
next
5
in
seconds.
the
That sounds
hybrid or
cool.
not hybrid realm.
That sounds
So,
good.
what about the shield?
And it scales
Yeah,
with
let's
the
start
game.
talking about them. I guess
That's really
best
good.
place to start would be which one do you want to start with?
So Gladiator Shield. I think we're going like we're
Oh.
skipping
Yeah,
a
any
little
god
bit,
can
but
buy
Gladiator is
Glad.
the one that's really
Yeah,
Okay.
I could hear you better
being
when
a
you put it in
problem
all
point.
caps.
Again.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
'cause
So
there's tier 1s and 2s as well, but we're going to get
1150 gold for 15
the
prot,
important thing to
15
talk about
HP
here is
5.
Gladiator Shield. So this is basically the same. It's getting a little bit of a caveat.
It's
here, 'cause
cheaper.
again, we're opening this up to a whole new realm
With
of Smite characters. being
more
able to
prot?
purchase Glad Shield.
Yeah.
So one thing that we have added to this is the ability to any consecutive.
Chat, I
Items and
already like what
Reworks
they're
are going
doing
to have-
with this because I'm gonna. Sorry, Lermy, I know you're talking, but the fact that items won't have power and prots, which means that you kind of have to build a damage item in your first slot in order to actually like farm well. And if you don't, you build just like a straight up defense item, you're not gonna farm well. So you actually have to choose between one or the other. Because before you could just build like berserkers and you'd still farm pretty well because you got power from it. But that would make the lane really stale. So there might actually be a meta where everybody just goes a damage item first as a guardian or as a warrior or something like that, and then you can actually kill each other.
What we're doing with Glad Shield, it's just been hyper efficient for some of the characters with multiple abilities.
Shut up,
and
guys.
It was kind of leading to be a little bit unfair. But going back a step now,
So if somebody builds like Glad Shield for item, they're just gonna sit there and not be able to do their blue. They're not gonna be able to do like the totem. Like they'll get punished for it, even though you won't be able to kill them. They'll get punished for it.
Here.
Yeah.
That's going to be getting a small shift as well. But the important thing here is it's no longer going to be class restricted.
All right.
Yeah.
Come on
so
now.
what hunters as well were.
Look at that item.
Restricted
Able
away
to
from
buy
that
this,
one.
Yeah.
And now, with the big thing here is less about the
I'm not
passive.
gonna
We did
lie.
get a little bit of a change. Glad Shield, that one's probably more important than
Tier 2
Berserker
shield and then
but the fact
rush
that they
Berserkers
no
or
longer
Glad?
have power. That's what's really going to be important here
Yeah.
because if you're buying Glad Shield or Berserker Shield for its power and hybrid stats in current season 9,
You can't build it as
now
a
you have to make a
hunter.
really big choice. You have to choose between the passive and the protections and the utility stats it can give you, or an actual power item.
Hunters can't build
I
Berserker
feel like
Shield.
we revisit this 3 times. But the most important part is if you want to build hybrid, if you want to be both damaging, offensive and defensive in your stats,
Yeah.
you now
You
need
can
to get
now?
a defensive item, which this is classified as now,
Yeah,
and
and
an
an
offensive
offensive.
item.
Exactly.
Which I like seeing before in some of the games where there's in the SPL, we started seeing some chalks. With
Did he say you
Transcendence,
can build
right?
it or you
That's
can't?
the kind of gameplay that we're talking about.
Okay.
Is you get an offensive item, and it doesn't have to be Transcendence, but it could be
Yeah,
whatever
the
you
HP
want.
5
And
on
you
these
build
items,
the defensive
especially on
items
Glad
to
Shield, is
kind of
really good for
round
this.
out your stats.
Yeah.
Got it.
So
'Cause
that's
of,
the important stuff there.
like
with
Arthur
the
build?
shields. Going into
Your
the
Glad
next
Shield's gonna have
category of items.
sustain on it now?
Same category, another tree,
Yeah, another tree.
which is the hammers.
Oh, it's not like. Oh, okay.
Boy, I
might
love
be.
the hammers so
Yeah,
much.
you do specifically this one.
Yeah, so Frostbound
Although-
Hammer is getting a little bit of a change.
There's no way
because
that
we again
they'll
it
allow
does have
that.
to do with that hybrid playstyle. So this one will actually
Hunter
have
started
power, but
building it-
again, to kind of go back to our point, items can have power and health, just not power and prots. Those two things
Got it.
gotta be staying separate here.
Exactly.
So this has
That's a
power
pretty good
and
item.
health, and then MP5 and HP5 of course, and you'll see that kind of theme.
What's up,
throughout
Midi?
the
How are
tree.
ya?
But we've also made a nice change to the passive
This one's
here.
passive. It's a little bit
Yes,
different than the
a little
other
bit different.
Just a smidge.
So how this works now is instead of getting that slow effect on every single auto that you're doing, you're going to get a bigger slow effect. And it also will happen in an AoE.
Yeah.
But it's got an internal cooldown, so it can't happen
That's
too
interesting.
often, but when it does happen, then you've got the opportunity to go crazy with it.
Yep. So we're looking at the hybrid items. We wanted to make those
No
stat
way,
shifts.
Mwack.
And we said,
Not happening.
Frostbound's kind of one that's not
little bit
been
better,
as
Mark.
fun. You might see another
Yeah.
item come in.
I feel a lot better than I did
later on.
yesterday, but my nose
Took
is
this
more
opportunity,
stuffy
and
now.
Similar, we're here with
and more
Rune Forge,
runny.
the other hammer. Again,
But somehow it
it's
took a
got the
day for
power,
me
no
to
protection like that. Has a little bit of health.
overcome,
55.
basically.
But it's
like, I don't have a
passive effect is
fever
gonna
or
be
feel
different.
like
So
weak
still
at all
playing with the
anymore.
hard CC
I don't know.
effects that it kind
Knock
of
on
was
wood, though.
before. But now it's actually going to be creating a field
Mentally
on
deaf.
hard CC
I just focused hard
that
on it.
increases the damage enemies inside that field take
Yes.
from anyone on your team.
This effect is so much
That's
fun
crazy.
too on characters like Tyr, on people that can really hold you still in this Runeforge proc. You're gonna be having a lot of fun because that's really the whole goal with this item.
That-
is you
those
have to
Frostbound
pick a
stats are like
character or
what
team
Runeforge
comps that can
were
really keep
this
those
last
people
season.
in the area,
Mm-hmm.
so you can do
And
that
it's
extra
cheaper than
damage
this,
to them.
so-
Because if
Yeah.
they're stuck in there, they're not having a fun
Yeah,
time.
they're-
Oh, there's like
They're
a
gonna
symbol
be
on the
in
ground.
pain.
It's like a
And to
Gilgamesh tree.
revisit
They
the
take more
goals we given
damage
at
in
the
it.
beginning, we
Happens
wanted
once
to
every 20
remove and
seconds.
replace a lot and rework a lot of the
Interesting.
items that were a
Yeah.
little bit more passive, a little bit more boring, you could say, and create these
I think
new,
it actually
more
might be
active
COVID,
gameplay
Mark.
moments. That's the
Yeah.
goal for a lot of these reworked items and for new passives coming.
To be fair,
Yeah,
I've had
Especially
COVID
when
3
you see
times.
the effects
and
on the
I'm
ground and things like
vaccinated,
that,
so
you'll have that clear go button
shit
of, okay,
got nothing
I
on me.
see the actual visual that this has happened. Now I know that we should fight right now.
Yeah, there's a circle. I'm gonna fight in that circle.
Fight in the
so.
circle.
You'll notice we winced when the word boring came out. It's because as game designers, that word scares us because you just don't want your stuff to be boring.
There's so many more
It's
interactive
either boring or
things.
too complicated, right? So-
Yeah, right. So like we want everything to be fun, but it's just funny, it's like a thing you don't even think about. You're like, if it's boring. So anyway, all right. So there's one more item
The
here for
final
the
one,
hybrids.
this is-
So any
this is
more-
of
so
a
many more,
shift,
like,
so
interactive,
with
like,
the tree changes from before.
additions to the game.
Catecheia's shield didn't have a home.
Like, even the
It's now
pyro
gonna
thing,
be
my
brought
bomb that you can, like,
into
put
the
wherever.
hybrids. So it is now going to be Catecheia's.
You actually have to make decisions
at
and
it.
stuff
Yeah.
and put it in
The
places
stats going to be
and
shifted, but the passive is
instead of just like
Yep.
Cool. So yeah, it's
things
just
being
a new tree, a
passive
new
and
little
happening
home.
to
So
you instead
that
of
does
you
it for
making it
hybrid.
happen.
But now we're into a kind of a hot ticket area. How about some anti-heal?
Oh yeah, here we go.
Some
Ooh.
anti-heal, some no healthy stuff.
This is a lot
Second
of fun.
category of items items, the anti-heal items.
Yeah.
You know, there's been multiple ways of addressing these, and I'm not going to have a massive
cool.
preamble on every single one of them. Basically, we want them to be more fun. How about that? We want them to be
More
more
fun.
fun. Anti-heal, it feels more like a stat. And now each one of these anti-heal items is going to be getting an actual passive. With that in mind, because you were basically adding power and we're not doing like massive rework shifts like we were for the other items, they're likely going to be either getting stat shifts or nerfs in other ways to make up for the fact that they're going to just be getting a new gameplay.
That'd be fun, Johnny.
Mostly it's increased costs to make them more in line. So the first one, Divine Ruin. So again, a little bit of a cost
Does it
increase
really?
and a whole new passive.
hit
The
that,
passive
Britt. That's
is,
crazy.
your next successful damage ability actually triggers a chain lightning effect with an internal cooldown. So kind of like a magical Odysseus bow effect.
Yeah, a
with an
little
internal
bit.
cooldown,
Yeah.
so you've got to have to play around.
You gotta
that.
wait
And
for
the
it.
best part about this is that lightning applies Divine Ruin.
Yeah.
So for those characters who had a bit of a tougher time applying it, thinking like your Noxes or your Scyllas, if you hit one person and they're close to other people, they are also getting Divine Ruined.
Yep. So
Nice.
it's pretty interesting passive because it helps the AoE mages who are already doing well with the AoE kind of spread that around, or it helps the mages that don't have good AoE kind of
AoE,
actually
yeah.
splash into that cleave damage a little
Yeah.
bit.
Nice, awesome. So it looks like next up we have Brawler's Beatstick as well.
Yeah.
Oh, this one's fun too.
Ooh.
So Brawler's Speedstick is now getting an additional passive, like we said. And so how this works is
That's
if
cool.
you
How the
are
anti-heals
near
AoE.
an enemy, so you participate
yeah,
in
you
killer
can
assist
aggro.
when they die.
That's smart.
They leave behind this glowing red field where if you're inside it, you get increased power.
That's just cool.
Yeah. So again, stand in the circle.
2600.
Yeah.
The circles are good.
And it relies on you killing or somebody.
Yeah, if it's not your red circle, then maybe not so much. But a lot of fighting in circles is going to happen. So it's kind of like a draw circle around the important fight area.
That doesn't seem
So,
too strong. But
cool. So we keep going. Toxic Blade getting some changes as well.
It's too expensive for
an item that's
an effect
honestly
that
pretty
is a win
decent,
more
just
effect.
with an effect that was kind of hit or miss. You know,
If you're
antidote's
getting
good,
a
but
kill
you
in
get
a
antidote
fight,
other ways.
you know.
But now it's getting something else with it too, right? So its costs are going to be increased, its stats are going to be decreased quite a bit, especially with the attack speed. But that's because we were talking about items that were removed. This one's kind of getting that Ichval
Ooh, that's
passive
cool.
back.
Ichval plus
Got
Toxic
it.
Blade.
It's not quite the same, but your enemies hit will still have the basic attack.
Yo, Clay,
healing
thanks to 10
reduction.
months. Welcome
Also,
back.
Basic attack
Much
will still
appreciated.
provide the healing reduction as normal.
Thank you.
But you're also going to be kind of reducing their attack speed and gaining it for yourself. You get a
Exactly.
little bit of that homage. to
Yeah,
it.
a little stealage. So
Yeah.
cool.
That sounds fun.
Pestilence
That's
next
a-
on the docket.
That's a
Now,
dual
this one
item right
is
there.
going to be a little bit different from the others.
Yeah,
in
what
that
Logic said.
it
Dual item.
doesn't have really that much of a flashy effect, right? This is
Okay.
more so
quieter.
your one-stop shop for all anti-heal. And one really important thing to talk about is that Pestilence and Contagion have kind of been interchangeable for a long time, right?
Yep.
Got it.
So
That's pretty
we're
good.
trying to give these two
55%
items a bit of
anti-heal.
unique identity for themselves, and that's particularly what Pestilence is going to be good at. Is if you need a lot of anti-heal, you're playing as 2, 3, 4. Their whole team has healers and meds. This is the item that you want to go for because it now applies even more anti-heal. When you
It
get
has like
hit,
an-
you are applying additional anti-heal.
It has
to
like
people around you.
Yep,
a
and
mystical
while it's
mail
not the
type
most
passive.
flashy gameplay gimmick, it also kind of requires you to do something a little bit more active, or it's got a gameplay purpose of it's when you get hit, they're getting more anti-soul. You want to kind
Yeah.
of position yourself in ways where you're actually causing them to hit you more, or
Exactly.
if they're choosing to hit you, they're getting a bigger penalty for
That's
it.
pretty
if
cool.
you're right up in their face and they're hitting you just because you're the first thing in front of them, then they're suffering for
That
it.
plus Thorns plus upgraded Ankh.
Cool. Well, I think,
my God, they're
I
gonna
think
get
that's the last one on
dominated.
the anti-heal docket.
Oh,
Yeah,
we've got some Contagion
We
too.
talked about Contagion, but
A
we
little
also have it
that's
has a new
true.
passive as well.
That's true, it does.
Like
I'm
when we
sorry, I
mentioned,
jumped the
though,
gun.
they are still going to have that shared aura effect. So if you do buy
Okay,
both,
aura
the
effect.
auras are not going to be stacking.
Exactly.
That's
Of
staying
course.
the same.
It's been there.
But the new passive for Contagion is going to be when you're hit by hard crowd control. So now you're on the receiving end, unlike
Yeah.
Runeforge where you're dealing hard crowd control. The enemy will actually receive like a ticking aura that's going to be hitting their allies. So you get hit by
The
hard
way
crowd
he said
control,
that, he was
they
like,
receive a debuff that's going to be hurting their own allies. Kind of like they're the source.
That was
of
the most
your mystical mail almost.
interesting
Yeah.
thing he's ever
They've
heard in
got
his
the
life.
Contagion, you might
They've
say.
got
They
the
have the
Exactly.
contagion. Okay. I'm glad I didn't jump over that then. That's cool. That's kind of cool, actually, yeah. They start to poke you, and you're like, but are you really? You're poking yourself, so... All right. So remember what I
Astonishing.
said a second ago? Yeah, now we're there. So
That is
we
pretty
still have
cool,
more reworked items, though, more things that are changing.
Yeah.
So moving into some of those, what's happening with Winged Blade? It's getting some changes.
Ooh, this one is really, really fun. So as you'll see, we have a lot of new
I like
effects
fun.
coming to the various reworked items.
Yeah.
But Wingblade is one of those that in this particular tree, anti-slow is still very strong. However, with a lot of these items getting stronger slows, we wanted to be sure that the counter option was really good as well.
This is
So
actually
Wingblade
funny
now
because
is going
this
to
is-
pulse out in an
Wingblade
AoE,
was bug in
when you
season
get hit by
1.
a slow. So
Cool.
you
And it was
and
applying to your
anyone in
teammates
that
as well.
AoE are
So
then
now it's
immune to
finally
slows and get
actually
shut up.
that.
Easy
Same effect,
peasy.
just
a little
in
bit more of a
bigger area.
team use case there.
So it's just
so
a team-wide
this is a
wing
new
blade.
category of like, it's not the anti-heal.
Yeah,
it's,
we're out of
it's
anti-heal.
not
If you
the
guys
hybrid
remember
item,
season
No
one,
it's just
anti-heal.
everyone was
fun
voting wing
reworks
blade,
for,
multiple,
effects that might have been a little
and
bit,
that's why it was
Yeah,
bugged.
things that we're trying to bring some life into. Moving next on to Gem of Isolation.
Another one of your favorite items.
Oh, yes.
Go ahead.
I
What's
love
this one
this
doing?
one. So this is very similar to Frostbound Hammer in that this is no longer the constant apply,
Mm-hmm.
but it is the stronger application, but with an internal
Wow.
cooldown. It doesn't
Got
happen
it.
all the time, but when it does,
That's actually not
pretty
bad
good.
for the
when you
guys
get it
that
off, you're really
use
going
it.
for it. So cool. So how about Spectral Armor? What's going on there?
Yeah, so spectral armor.
Like for
it's
example,
kind of
like
the
Pos,
anti-heal items,
use
but
it
it's
for
got
every one of your
it's
threes and
a-
your ults
yeah.
and
it's
stuff.
a counteracting effect for something that they're doing, right? So instead, you're still going to be getting the
Agreed,
reduced
King.
bonus damage from physical crits, but
Yeah.
now when you're hit by a critical strike, you and your allies will actually take even less bonus damage from further critical strikes, and that
Okay.
effect
Oh
is
my
stacked.
goodness.
Another cool, fun change.
It also like helps mitigate having to purchase multiple spectral armors for one team.
Yeah.
You gotta
Yeah.
provide at least a mini version of that effect for allies that are
That's
doing
cool
Yeah,
at least.
So if
I
you're
like that.
positioning right in the team fight with this,
It's
spectral
annoying that you have
armor,
to build like 3
everybody's
spectrals
getting
for
that
like
anti-crit
one
effect,
person
so you
building
really gotta
crit.
watch where you're standing, but it's a really fun balance to
Sure,
play
that
as a
should help
tank
with that a little
character
bit.
where you want to stay near your allies, but you don't want to stand too near that they're getting hit, but you also have to stand close enough to the enemies where they're hitting
Yeah.
you and they're critting you. It's really fun to
It-
be positioning as a tank.
And
in
don't forget the
Season 10.
circles. Yeah. So there's the
So we got
circles, there's
circles.
the allies. So
Lots of stuff.
so far the year of watch where you're standing. So next up we have looks like some stat changes. These are going to be primarily stat based, starting with Demon Blade.
Yeah,
having
so
some
this is a
things.
little bit more similar to the Cadeas Club change, where it's
Okay.
kind of like based on the items the trees that have been removed. These
Yeah.
items needed to find new homes in
Yeah,
a way, or
filling-
they've been
filling a gap.
restatted.
Got it.
So Shadow Steel Shuriken was removed. We didn't want to we found a new design space for Wind Demon. It is now going to be called Demon Blade.
Really,
and
Mike?
It's going to be on the short sword tree.
Yep, I mean, you can't really build a shuriken out of a sword.
Right,
so-
exactly. It didn't make sense for it to be the previous.
Yeah, you
previous
can.
Demon art.
I mean, you have to
Listen,
break
one
it
of the
down.
points is just a lot longer.
just gotta
than the
break it
others.
down.
It's kind of a sword. It just has a really
just-
bad handle.
I mean, it's got
I don't
really
know.
sick new art too.
It
so
does, it does,
I'm
somehow,
excited to be using
some
that.
way.
It's got an edgy
But
name too. So
Some of these, the
that's
stats
nice.
might change, but the passives for all of these should be unchanged. So
Got
it's
it.
mostly kind of just reorganization of these items.
Yeah,
Got it.
specifically for Demon Blade, though, it did receive a bit of a nerf in that
It
it
did,
no
that's
longer
true.
provides movement speed on the passive, but everything else is
The
exactly
blacksmith
the same.
grind
Got it.
set.
And worth noting, we do have cool new art. If some of it happens to be a little different in PTS or in game, that's because some of it's still getting a brush up here
Yeah,
and
it's
there
Wind Demon,
because
but
we have really talented artists that
a blade.
like their stuff to look as amazing as possible. So
And it does look good.
yeah, a lot of these are
Yeah,
finished, but if
that's-
you happen to be
that's
like,
true,
that
Johnny.
looks a little different than I remember, then good on you for
Yeah, I am,
remembering.
Alex.
And yeah, it's because our
100%,
artists are
but-
just really cool and always working. They're absolute artists.
Our goats.
So, truly goat. So next up, Breastplate of Regrowth, which was formerly a shield, wasn't it?
Yeah, throwback to that. This is now over in the breastplate tree, so you're
Okay.
building a Prince Silver breastplate.
Sheesh.
Does the exact same thing. It's just in the breastplate tree now, and it's got new art. Look
Cool.
at that.
It's
Diana
shiny.
gives you props.
I love it.
I love it. I agree. So, continuing down the same tree, we have Lotus Sickle.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, this is a cool one.
That's cool.
We
Yeah.
were like debating which way to go. Then we heard.
Oh,
this,
and it's
like,
no CDR on
terminology,
it?
like,
Oh
let's
my
just roll
goodness.
with it.
Let's just
So
roll.
Lotus
But-
Crown,
Okay, Breastplate
good enough.
Regrowth
Helmet
is
tree,
OP.
all that business. That's all gone. It's
more
now going to
hats.
be moved to the Ancient Blade tree, building off of Adventurer's Blade, and it is now a sick sickle.
It's
Sick
so
sickle.
cool looking. I mean, Crown's nice,
But you can have a sickle.
but yeah,
Yeah,
you can have
but
a
with the
sickle. I mean, why wouldn't
sickle.
you?
Super cool. And yeah, again, the art is just, I love seeing all this
What
new
does it do,
art.
though? Is it just
It
Lotus
brings
Crown?
life into some of these. I mean, these are new items. Some
But
of
it's
them
only-
are very similar to old items, but it makes it really feel new when you get that new art
Right.
for it. So,
And you see it in the tree. It's like I haven't seen that before.
yeah, you're like,
Oh wait, I know
ooh.
that.
Need to get some
7%
of
movement
that.
speed and
All right,
10%
so next
CDR?
up, Cleric's Cloak coming in. This looks like a tier 2, I believe.
Yeah, so this one's going to be really interesting. So Cleric's Cloak
For 2K
that
gold?
entire kind of tier 2 path.
Yeah.
That's going to be changing.
Lotus
because
Crown
we're gonna actually be
Guan?
removing the health and adding cooldown reduction as a
Yeah,
primary
that is a
stat
broken
rework.
fucking item.
So in order to do
For
that,
2K
Cleric's Cloak
gold?
needed stat rework. It's getting a little bit more protections, but the health is removed for that cooldown
That is
reduction.
that is
and that's also
disgusting.
going to be leading to the tier 3 item of Magi's Cloak.
Magi's
so
Cloak.
Magi's Cloak is going to be getting the increased protections as well, but removing the whole bunch of that health and adding cooldown reduction instead. And of course,
Oh my
the
god,
glyphs are
everything
also
has
gonna be
cooldown reduction.
Yeah, it'll
There's
it'll
so many
go up
cooldowns.
into those tier 4, I guess you'd call it,
Yeah.
the glyphs.
So again,
My
kind of
goodness.
reinforcing our tree identities and spicing
Yeah.
things up, making sure that if you
Captain Quiet, thanks for 34 months. Howdy,
want to go for,
howdy, how are you?
To go for.
Yep.
Got it. And it looks like we have one last little, kind of a whole tree of stat changes here, moving from the Morning Star, which is a tier 1, up to the Hydra's Star, and then all the way to Hydra's Lament.
Yep,
so,
similar as before. That tree was kind of an identity, was mana based, and while MP5 is kind of there, the Hydra's Star, like that. There's already MP5 kind of with the Hydra's Lament tree a little bit. So we're just actually changing that stat from MP5 to mana.
Yep, it has a lot more synergy now with the
Yeah, it does, Kieran.
Tree just in general. So, if you do want to buy Hydras and Transcendence, it's a little bit better together now.
Yeah, they got a pair.
Don't need a deep merch.
All right, so we've talked a lot of rework. We've talked a lot of deleting. This part, you can see how excited they got. This part is really exciting. We got new items, not reworked with pretty new art, not brand new.
Still pretty new art though.
Items. I mean, no, it is still pretty new art, but like brand new everything. So we're gonna dive right in with the very
new
first
items.
New item.
Christmas came early
ring.
or late.
Yeah, so
exactly the same.
All right, I'll take this one.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Go for it.
It gives me a little bit of time for that tiny clumsy preamble, which is again, some of these there were items that were removed.
Yeah.
Some of these some of those were removed for specific reasons and allowed us to bring new design spaces into them. So
Cyclopean ring.
Cyclopean
ring. The Cyclopean
ring.
ring.
New
My
ADC ring, obviously being
dear friend had one of those back in the
enchanted ring tree. It's actually going to have a new stat cooldown reduction. Again, we wanted to find new ways of. Okay, stat itself isn't new, but the stat for that tree is new, right? It's like they didn't have ADC mages didn't really have the option for cooldown reduction before. Now they have a little splash of that with the Cyclopean ring.
Got it.
And
we all got that one homie who never take off the Cyclopean ring.
Basic attacks against an enemy god deal extra bonus magical damage based on the enemy's maximum health. So that means if you're going to be hitting tankier characters, you're going to be getting actual more bonus damage.
The stats aren't amazing for 2,600 gold.
The other interesting thing here
I will
is
admit.
that it does have an ICD, but the ICD is further reduced the more successful basic attacks you deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
if you're really laying it out, you're gonna take that cooldown and
a Soul Reaver.
Oh yeah.
For a Soul Reaver for auto attackers.
And the auto attacks. Got it. Sure, I'll do that.
That can't be that hard.
Yeah, I'm sure it can't be. So next up, the Tablet of Destiny.
There's a cooldown on it though.
So
you need pen for it to be good.
Me, please.
Well,
you need pen for it to work.
This is going to be in the
so you need like an op chart or something, or Karen's coin,
and this is a
which isn't a great item for auto attack.
To stack items. We've never seen a stacking item like this before.
Stacks.
So how this works is that to get stacks on Tablet of Destinies, you need to hit enemies with abilities.
The Tablet of Destinies! I've read this tablet
but this
many a
also
time
has
in
a
my
trigger where you can only get
adventures.
them once per god per ability as well. So
thank you, Saint, for the 3 months. I appreciate it. And Unique, thank you for the
60
16 months. Welcome back, guys.
You deal
Appreciate it.
true damage to enemy gods based on a percentage of your max mana. So more stacks, more damage, more mana, even more damage.
Yeah, so while there used to be a Book of the Dead in this kind of spot that was kind of playing on that max mana synergy for defensive stats, which we found, again, pretty hard to balance because, it was either too strong or too weak. Now you've got an offensive option instead, again, playing off of that mana stat.
Exactly.
See, where I'm from, that kind of stacking, we call that
That's kind of confusing, but
that's like the greatest thing ever.
That makes
you're
sense.
like, all right.
Are so fun.
Yeah, you're like, I'm already in here, I'm already doing it, but like, I gotta land all these abilities because that's how I'm gonna get my stacks. So absolutely love that. Look forward to that.
No, they're still separate for Ecology, but some of the items from before that are specific aren't anymore.
So how about the bladed
boomerang?
So this is going to be a new crit item. And you can kind of, maybe you can't tell, but with the idea of this boomerang going on, the most important thing here, of course, is the passive. And the passive is when you next base attack an enemy, you'll actually spawn a deployable, kind of taking
an Aussie item.
Like the earrings that were,
I can't hear myself, so I can't do an accent.
If you pick up that deployable, you'll actually gain movement speed and more crit chance. So, and this also, the duration lasts long enough so that you can actually get more of these effects the more you're kind of picking up. So you can stack this effect up with the more boomerang pickups you gain.
Got it. So if
the loop of it is just so much fun too, because you'll hit someone with your boomerang and then it comes on back to you and lands on the ground and then you go pick it up. But
that's pretty cool.
Like Clumsy said, the whole idea is for you to keep these stacked up. And that movement
more
speed
interactive
and
items.
That other extra
That's what I'm talking about.
It's going to be helping you to get to wherever
Shark's
they land,
gonna love this
depending
item.
on, how the randomness ends up on the ground. But
it is a short-term loop, though, so you're not getting this buff for like 30 seconds or like that. The ICD is also pretty short
it's very
to keep
short.
that gameplay mechanic kind of sustained. Also, the fun thing here is that it's pretty. While it is going to be coming back to you, the boomerang deployable, it's not like going to be perfectly at your feet. It's going to have a little bit of a variance kind of in between you and the enemy that you hit. But if you're a melee character, you're going to be collecting that boomerang right to your face.
Ooh, yeah, that could be a
like a
gimmick
little bit of
item.
an added bonus for that.
Boomerang to the face, as you might
That could be
say.
a gimmick
I
item
just
for
love
sure.
the mental games that come with this too, especially
Yeah.
as a hunter in lane of, am I gonna go for my boomerang? Am I not? Which way am I gonna go? You know, you never know.
Yeah, you
so
bait out
playing,
the ability
playing the
because they're
mental
like,
game.
I see a circle they're gonna go for, and then they use an ability, and you're over here, and you're like, haha.
Yeah, you thought.
I'm just imagining like I hadn't even thought about that on a melee character. Like, you know, with a hunter it's like boomerang, and then with the hunter it's like
Yeah, exactly. You're holding on to that boomerang. You're not throwing it, right?
let
You're
it go.
smacking them with it.
It has a blade
it's yours.
for
It's
a
exactly.
reason. I
yeah.
mean.
So that's a great mental image I'm gonna carry with me into year 10. So next up, Shadow
loud.
Drinker. That's a nice
Ooh,
edgy name.
oh yeah. And the art on this one is so sick
is
too.
cool.
Oh
It
my
is.
gosh.
It is super cool.
So this is going into the katana tree with your other katana items, like
Kind of
your
replacing that
hasten.
stone cutting sword slot a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah. Oh,
And the
rest
fun
in peace.
part about this one is, again, towards that passive, is if you get a kill on an enemy, you will be going invisible for the next few seconds. And so this invisibility is kind of treated like your
Whoa.
Morrigan stealth, where if you do anything, if you take a basic attack, if you have ability, you get hit by anything, you are instantly broken out of the stealth.
it.
But you also, in addition to this, get a movement speed buff. So think of it that you're getting the stealth and the movement speed. You
God
can be
damn.
broken out of the stealth. The movement speed will stay on you the whole time.
Okay, so it's a good like get in, secure the objective,
And sneak
hopefully
out.
get out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sneak your way out. Yep.
yeah, cool. So we drank the shadows. Now we got the Dawnbreaker.
Hey, yeah, these are great to
Oh,
put back
yeah.
together. All right, so with the next two items, so a little bit of a spoiler there too. We wanted to play around with a little bit more utility effects based on the trigger, kind of like the Arthurian trigger of using
Yeah.
your ultimate. So Dawnbringer, when your ultimate ability is finished casting, you actually gain
2,600 gold.
protections and movement
That's
speed
quite expensive
based on
for a
how
tank
many
item.
enemy gods are nearby you when
Okay.
you've done that.
Or-
So kind of again playing with the active
know.
component of gaining a utility effect, but you want to specifically position yourself inside the enemy team or as close to as many enemies as you can.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. So this is a great item for if you're diving into an engagement. All the enemies are there. You get that off, and then all of a sudden, max benefits, max battling. I
Yeah,
guess.
you're feeling tanky, you're feeling fast, you are about to go crazy with
You
it.
are in there.
Oh, that's pretty
All
cool.
Cool.
It's
So
like an
that is
Erendite for
Dawnbringer.
tanks.
Next up, still going, still more new items.
Pretty cool.
Absolution.
This one has been so fun to play test. I can't even tell you the amount of times where I have been playing support, and I've wanted to pick this one up as soon as I can.
Absolution.
Well, obviously,
Yeah.
there's a lot of more fun items coming up for the early game. This one's a great one towards the team fight stage.
Okay.
So what this item does is, like you said earlier with the Arthurian trigger, after you finish your ultimate, you pulse out a CC cleanse aura that cleanses people for a very short duration.
Yeah.
So it's basically shorter beads for everybody around you. So,
Got
for
it.
instance, I've been playing Atlas, and I throw my Atlas ult out to get people going, and then
Oh,
I
that's
cleanse
really cool.
everybody of Ares ult or something.
Yeah.
It's just so fun to
Wow.
So
have
you're
that
just like,
level of
everybody
control
group up.
as a support.
Ares
to do
comes
these
in, you
very
blink ults.
fun supporty
You're like,
things.
guys,
Yeah.
group up. You Atlas ult
I
at your
can't wait
feet.
to see people go
Cleanse
crazy with
everybody.
This one, to be honest, this has such a
That's
fun,
pretty cool.
like skill
Fucks up
cap
dodgy as
level,
well.
and especially that team play that comes alongside it. Supports are gonna go even crazier than they already have been.
I was about to say,
You just do it on RDO, though?
Especially in like
You just do it on
professional play,
RDO?
and, like the high level play where it's like, oh, what an incredible ult, CC the whole team. Then the support comes in, whoa, what an incredible ult, no CC, fight is turned. So it's gonna provide for a lot of sway, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I can't wait to see clips of that on the pro.
Oh
League,
yeah,
honestly.
that's gonna be y'all are gonna take that and run with it. So after the Absolution, we're moving on to
How many
an
people are
Abyssal
watching, by the way?
Stone.
10K,
Stone.
nice.
Yeah,
Abyssal
exact-
Stone.
And you hit the nail on the head. We're playing around with that stone tree again.
Yeah.
Again, no power, right? These are just going to be the defensive stats. So I wanted to readdress that for the hammers and the other things that we're talking about. We're looking at the stats as well.
Got
It's
it.
pretty important. But Abyssal Stone, passive here, successful ability damage to an enemy
Pretty good
god.
stats.
Actually, will debuff them with
Okay.
negative cooldown reduction.
Never been seen before.
Yeah,
Crazy, right,
some
guys?
time.
This
So,
item
yeah,
could
so
be
this is
good,
something that we've kind
but
of
it's
played
not
around
going
with
to
the
be.
idea of, and we
It's
found
not going to
this
be
the
used
opportune
because
time to,
it's not something that you'll
try and
notice.
kind of test the water.
Any item that you can't
the way
actively
this works
feel,
is that when you hit the enemy, you apply this
it
debuff
doesn't
to
feel
them,
good to
it's not
buy.
going to be doing anything.
You
to
won't be able to
any
feel the
abilities that are
person not
currently on cooldown
using their
for
cooldown
them.
for
It's
like
going
a
to be
2
any
more
new abilities
seconds.
that do while that debuff is there.
You know?
So, for
Got
example,
it.
I hit you. You then use your
So
ultimate.
the stats
your
are good, so
ultimate
maybe
now has
it's
a
purchasable
20%
because it was like
longer
2350 for
cooldown
40
than it
each
would have
rock,
had
300
normal.
health.
That's crazy.
the fact
Or
that
any
you-
of your other abilities.
Yeah,
as
any
well.
of your
The
other
fact-
abilities.
the
But
fact
that's
that
like
you
the best case scenario.
Yeah.
Now again, similar to Blade of Boomerang in a way, this is a shorter loop.
Won't feel it
where
is
the
definitely
debuff
what's bad.
duration and the ICDs are kind of shorter to make you like able to kind of play around with this effect on multiple.
Yo,
people.
thanks, Goalie. I appreciate
Yeah,
the 4 months.
okay.
Welcome back.
That's
Thanks for
crazy.
being
I
here
can
as
only
well.
imagine you hit me with it. I'm like, haha, you
Appreciate
barely
it.
hurt me. I throw my ult out, especially as a guardian, one of those really long cooldowns.
Yeah, what
I'm
happens
like,
if you go
why-
above the
that's
cap.
10
What if you have
seconds
60%
longer than
CDR?
it
You just
should
back
be.
to 40?
So that's really cool.
Even if you can't get 60?
Next up, we have I just lost all my words. We have
Archdruid's Fury.
Yeah, Archdruid's Spirit. I touched a button and I
Ooh.
messed everything up.
This one's so much
Maybe
fun.
it is good, actually, because it's a 6-second cooldown.
So, this is an aggressive
And you're
item
just constantly
for your
proccing
supports
it,
or
just
your
giving them
solo
CDR.
lanes that
Yeah,
are
maybe
planning
it
to
is
take
good.
a lot of damage, but they also want to deal some back in return.
Take it
So,
back a little bit. All right.
how the passive on this one works is for every 5% of damage that you take, you'll gain a stack. And then when
Okay.
you're ready to be rid of your stacks, which you can have a max of 6, you just gotta walk up to someone, drop a basic attack, and they'll be taking
Kinda
a
smack 'em in
lot
the
of
face.
damage back.
Yeah, just give him a bonk.
Just a little.
That's pretty
You're
good.
hitting with Carapace Shard as well.
Except that's like-
really feeling the pain.
wow, yeah.
Except that's literally just axe.
A lot of health from that.
True that.
That's
All right,
literally just
so,
axe.
The next item, just got one
But
name item here. We have
better.
Phalanx.
Ooh.
Yeah, so Phalanx, again, similar to how Toxic Blade kind of absorbed a passive from another.
Yeah.
Really
We've always
aggro?
found the design space
Yeah,
and the
that's
the
pretty
kind
crazy, actually.
of niche
I
opportunity.
didn't see the
with
6-second
tyrannical
cooldown on
playground
it.
to be really interesting.
I thought it'd be like
Something
15
play
or
around with a little
something,
bit
but
more. So we're bringing that
every
in here
6
a little bit
seconds,
with
you're just
Phalanx.
giving them. That is pretty good.
Passive, yeah. Now when you're basic attacked by an enemy god, your friendly minions will be gaining a similar buff as before of attack speed and some protection. So now the more you're basic attack, the more you're positioning yourself well, the more your minions are going to be like gunning at that guy with increased vigor.
Oh, that's interesting.
Always got you back in the lane.
Exactly.
This is especially fun in solo lane as like kind of a basic attack warrior
Phalanx?
counter. Like if your
Phalanx?
Bellona's trying to swing through the whole lane, King Arthur is trying to use his cleave autos. Well, you stand in one. Not only are you making your minions stronger, but you can do the classic, I'm going to get the aggro for all your minions, group them all up, smack them together, and my minions are taking even less damage because you've hit me.
Yeah.
What the heck? That's
So
crazy.
yeah, a lot of good trade potential. All right.
That is interesting.
And I love the name. Phalanx is just such a cool name. I don't know how else to say
And
that.
it's in the shield tree.
Stacks up to
And it's in
3.
the shield tree. So
60%
next up,
attack speed and
the,
45 of each
prophetic
prot.
cloak, which this
My
one I think
goodness.
evolves too. So yeah, let's get into that.
Phalanx.
Yeah, so Prophetic Cloak. This one's really interesting. Obviously, it's being
Phalanx.
the cloak tree.
Yeah.
This was kind of designed because while we
you
understand
need to buff the all-star
as-
players,
that
Mon.
Gauntlet of Thieves is kind of a strong design space, it's kind of hard to dethrone the king in a way. We've seen that a little bit with Mail of Renewal in the past, and it's not necessarily that we want to remove it as an option. We kind of just wanted to give it an actual competitor. So Prophetic Cloak, it's actually going to be very interesting where you can damage different types of classes of gods, and based on the one that you damage, you're going to be gaining protections as an aura for that class. So if I hit you and you were playing a hunter, I'm going to be gaining an aura of physical protections for myself and my team.
Yeah.
Now, if I then go over to the mid lane, or if you're playing arena and you're hitting multiple
hit the
people,
mid lane.
Wait,
and you go
what?
and hit a mage, you're going to be gaining a stacking magical aura.
Oh, that's crazy.
So it's a stacking aura
That's
based on the
stupid.
class of enemy that you've been hit for protections. And when you get to full max stacks, I think it's 15 each. You actually then get evolved Prophetic Cloak, which is going to be having those physical protections as a stat and as an aura, and it'll be gaining a completely different effect. Where if you have over a certain amount of protections as a whole, you actually gain bonus damage mitigation.
Dang.
So the more protections you have, the more mitigation you gain.
Oh my goodness.
That's cool. Yeah,
Like two different tiers.
That's a
That
lot of
sounds
sense, and I
pretty
like the way
good.
that works too, because it's situational. You know, if you're in that solo lane, you're like, all right, damage is coming from a physical attacker. I'm gonna hit that person.
Oh
get this
my
aura, and
God,
then we have
I'm
a better
buying
chance
that.
of winning this trade, winning this fight. So
That- you can buy that in
again,
solo lane too, right?
A lot
'Cause
of
you
what
just
I'm
hit the
seeing and
person.
what I'm loving is skill expression and how you get to pick and choose when you're fighting and what stats you have for these environments, and showing off what you're best at. You know.
Way
This
slower
one's
than
also really
Thieves.
interesting because there's also designed
Okay.
downsides as well. Where if you're versing like a very heavy magical based team, or
Achilles,
4 or
oh my
5
god,
or
damage
4 or
bit
5
builds, they're
physical-based
back,
teams,
baby.
may not be the best
Damage
option
bit
because
builds.
then you're stacking
Wait,
up on like a
Sigil,
dual
you
stat,
can get up to
or if they have
12% or
5-1,
15%.
stat completely.
You can get
then
20% from
literally
this.
can't evolve this item.
Berserker's
You will not be
10.
able to gain,
True.
stacks
Spirit
of
Robe
both.
15.
Yeah.
Oni
Imagine
Hunter's
like
9.
a hyper physical damage team, and the tank gets in front. That's magical damage. You hit them, you get reduced magic damage, and the rest of their team is physical. And you're like, good for the stacks. The buff means nothing.
Exactly.
So
Yeah. Gotta
super
be
cool.
planning when you get this one, and planning who you're attacking too. This is
Yeah.
great at really dictating, your rotations as well. Because like Clumsy was saying, if you need to go and get some magical stacks, time to go to mid.
Oh, plus
Time to
potion of
wander, yeah.
defense.
Yeah, it's time to start rolling.
Bro,
down.
you.
All right,
And
looks
then
like we have
Onyx is 12
one
now.
new
You get
item.
80% damage,
A lot of
mid.
items,
There's a
right?
lot.
So the Cannoneers, Curious? Yeah.
Plus Osiris
That's a word I
passive?
don't use very often in my day-to-day
Bro,
life. So
have
pronounce
one
You
of
get
those.
100%
No.
and just walk around and not take
So
damage?
this item is kind of another alternative to Thebes, but this is more along the lines of
Very early game focus.
Yeah,
Okay, to be fair,
early game focus, but it's
they're not
really
all
great
damage
at
mint.
funneling
Sigil isn't
your
damage
carry.
mint, it's damage
So this is
reduction, so that
basically
doesn't add
designed
up together.
For supports, it's very hard to use this in the solo because of
Okay.
its passive.
No, that doesn't have
Get into
DR.
that.
Damage
So,
mint doesn't have DR. They
every
stack
few
additively.
seconds, you're able to instantly kill a lane minion. Not jungle minions, not jungle bosses, lane
Just the
minions.
lane minions. Got it.
Very, very clear about that. This is
Fuck,
for
give
the
me
lane
PTS,
only.
dude.
So you do kill this, and then if there is an ally within your range, they're gonna get bonus gold. So you might be
Say-
thinking,
they
well,
have to be hit by
I
CC?
don't want
Yeah,
the
true,
last
but
hits.
that's
This
when
case,
you're gonna be
you
using
do,
it most, right?
because you're giving them a ton of gold.
Got it.
And in addition to that, when you blow up that minion, well, like I said, it blows up. It deals damage to
Oh.
enemy
That's
minions
cool.
in a small aura. So it's
Literally
setting up
blows up.
for
It's like a little heart
last
bomb.
hits too. So not only are you funneling gold, but you're getting your carry extra last hits too if they're able to get those extra hits on those minions that have
Yeah.
been brought lower.
Wow, yeah, that's just a lot of benefits. That's a lot of good.
It's kind of had an
good support
idea I had for
benefits, too, 'cause
characters
like
that
you
don't
said,
have
the
great clear.
explosion, the extra gold. I just love that. That's another way to
Exactly.
contribute.
Remember
to
I
your
had that
laner
idea where
while
it was like
you're
an
still
active
hanging
that
out
you
with
could
them.
use
Yeah,
to
the
wave clear.
explosion is not intended to kill those minions because again,
Oh, you
it's
guys
kind of
remember
it's a
that,
little
but
it's a
this
little bit
kinda like
counterintuitive.
that.
Don't get me wrong, because generally you want the sustain from not getting the last hits.
Does it work with
Setting
Ganesha?
up
Probably
the
just
last
won't work
hits
if somebody's
for
near you.
your ally and granting them extra gold. Being able to do that and min-max this
During
kind of
Shenful Emit, yeah,
passive
the one.
and how often it's up is going to be really, really crucial to getting your hyper carry ADC, whether
Oh,
it's your
yeah, let me
Artemis,
check
your
max.
Freya,
Oh,
whoever
fuck.
it might be. That's a
don't
really,
have it.
really
Be right
keen
back, guys.
strategy for those characters that need gold to get going.
Yeah, and I mean, I can already see the use cases of this because like you've won a good trade, you got to get back, you want to crash the wave. This will help you get them ready for last hits. Your person last hits, the wave is cleared
Yep.
faster. You're going back quicker. You're able to. It's just it lets you have your foot on that lead and it lets you take another step up. So.
And
Exactly.
if you don't want to think about the min max too much, you just pick this up and you're clearing the wave a little bit faster. So
Yep.
so that way, if you have like
There
a
you go.
hunter with low clear, or whatever maybe, or your guardian with low clear, you're now just being a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gebs of the world rejoice.
Hooray!
I need a
So
frickin'
cool,
my
and that
nose
is going
what
to
I
do
need
it for
to
the
do.
new items. We still
Oh,
got
jeez, yeah.
we still got some items, a little bit of general balance left
so,
because
yeah, the previous categories we've gone through the hybrid items, we've gone through all the like the reworked items, the stat shifts, we've gone through the new items. That's
Yeah.
like the whole bunch of like one big pass. Now it's kind of just like general balance.
Yeah,
right?
the
It's
stuff
not-
you'd see-
Now we're just talking about normal patch stuff, but
Yeah.
in regards to year 10.
yeah. So and we're going to kick that off with some starter items. So it looks like the first of them is the Archmage gem.
Yeah, so I think we can breeze through these a little bit faster, not
Go
just the
for it.
starter items, just in general, because these are just general buffs and nerfs. That,
Yeah,
you know,
dive
they're
into
not
it
gonna
then,
be too
Clumsy.
crazy. So starter items, we saw a lot of mage changes before, or whether it's the hunters that are a little bit more prevalent in the mages, Sands of Time getting
blow my
buffed,
nose.
Archmage's gem, and as a whole just wasn't really as strong. So small buffs there, it's going to be gaining some more damage.
Yep.
Easy peasy.
Cool. And then yeah, so a lot of the starter item changes, like you said. I mean, a lot of starter item changes. So let's just keep going down the list.
Yeah,
Sure.
so I guess on top of that one, Gem of Focus.
Yeah.
As an upgrade, it'll be
Archmage getting
gaining
buffed again.
a little bit more increased movement speed and a little bit more damage, but we're going to be losing on that mitigation.
Yep. So
Yeah.
not super great for your tanky characters, your spammy characters anymore. It's still really good to keep that extra damage going,
Yeah.
but you're just not going to be as survivable anymore.
Yeah, not
That helps
quite as
push it
alive.
away from like the bruiser
Interesting.
lineup as
Yeah,
well that we
exactly.
saw. But
Got
there's a
it.
whole bunch of changes coming into year 10.
Yeah.
True that,
That's
a lot
not
of
the
them.
only starter item change we got coming.
Yeah, so after Gem of Focus, we
Oh,
have
it's more
Boost
about
on
the
that.
movement
Yes.
speed, I
So
think.
the biggest
for tanks,
change here
but-
is one that we referenced a little bit earlier with Glad Shield, where this will be getting that damage after.
The subsequent
damage,
Subsequent damage. That's the word I was looking
Subsequent.
for.
Reduction. And the important thing here to note as well, because I did the math on these, is some of these numbers look like they're massive buffs because the damage component themselves needs to be increased at least a little bit if the subsequent damage is going to be reduced by a
Yeah.
lot. Because if you are not someone who has a lot of abilities, you're going to be. If we didn't actually buff the numbers, you're going to be severely hurt by this.
I'm so
And
confused.
even then, even
Clumsy.
with that in mind, even with the
If you're not
increased
somebody who
damage
doesn't
numbers,
have a lot of abilities,
it's still going to be
you're-
slightly worse.
what is going on?
than it
Got
was
it.
before.
Yeah, this just levels the playing field for the characters that have a million abilities, like King Arthur,
Yeah,
and those
true.
that have 4, like our boy Sun Wukong.
Got
Hitting
it.
one
And
boost spins
specifically
proc
for
better.
boost stones as well, because
Okay.
they're a little bit more unique than Glad Shields, that they had a dot effect. There's no
Okay.
the actual amount of stacks is going to be reduced to just one, so it's
Okay.
no longer going to be stacking up to twice. It's just
That's
the
fine.
one stack.
Arthur
with
wants
the
to buy a
one
new
stack together.
sigil anyway,
Got it.
right?
'Cause,
Agri?
yeah, moving on to that, we have Corrupted Bluestone and Bluestone Brooch, both
Both
online.
effectively the exact same
Yep.
thing.
Got it.
Subsequent damage reduction. Damage numbers look a lot higher, but it's also no longer stacking.
Easy peasy. All right, so how about the warding
15%
sigil? What's
of
going
the
on with
current
that?
health.
Oh,
My
this
goodness.
one is going to be very fun. So, Warding Sigil, ever since we introduced starter items, it's been a little bit difficult to see this guy get any play in Conquest, which
Yeah.
is Always a little bit sad to see.
Healing
so
for 1% of your max
this is
health.
going to give a little bit of sustain now for each stack of dampening that you get. So you get protections and you get healing for
Sigil with
1% of your max
sustain.
health over those,
Speak of the
next few
devil.
seconds.
Nice. And does that carry into Sigil of the
With the
Old
most
Guard,
OP
or how's
upgrades
that?
late game.
Yeah, so we are also bringing those up, I do believe.
Yeah, so there's the old guard as well. We'll be gaining kind of a similar change.
Yeah,
there.
similar level, but
Got it.
again, upgraded.
Yeah,
This is
obviously
the level
upgraded.
20.
Oh my
version of it,
goodness.
Of course.
The build
All right.
is
Bit extra
it's
there.
So
broken.
continuing to dive forward, Sundering Axe. What's
Bro,
happening there?
you're going to be
There's, like,
walking
so
around
many
with
different things going
100%.
on, just, like, make
Oh,
sure
yeah.
I'm on the right
Mid.
page.
I get you.
Sundering Axe, this one's going to just be a small buff to the current health steal.
Okay.
But the interesting one coming
That
up
is crazy.
The Axe of Animosity.
Get into it.
So this seems to be
Get into
Hero's
it.
Axe.
Yeah, it
and
was
Yep.
changed.
if you
Okay.
can tell by the name change, it's now going to be the Axe of Animosity because there's going to be kind of like a passive swap. coming
okay,
up.
cool.
Got it.
Which will get into
So
that.
Animosity is now gonna be Hero's
The
Axe.
Animosity effect is now going to live on what used to be Hero's Axe. So now it's going to be in the Warrior's Axe. tree.
Interesting.
Because of that, there's going to be a little bit of stat reduction with the protections being reduced.
The only
for
problem
what
is
now
Axe-
of Animosity.
Axe is not a
but it will now be
auto
dealing,
attack starter item.
The Animosity effect. So
So
the
it's
passive
kind of-
will be
it's
your
a little
basic attack
mismatched
to bonus
now.
damage equal
Because
to,
like if you're playing
a
below
percentage of your maximum
Osiris,
health
actually it
to
would work
enemies
pretty
and
well on.
structures.
Actually,
So,
Osiris
again,
pretty decent with it,
Animosity
but
was a little bit of an odd spot for kind of like this very aggressive effects, but on a support starter item.
Yeah.
Now it makes a lot more sense for those to be swapped. So you're
interesting.
gaining-
That should be
I
fun.
guess so the
That's
next one
there's
you're
gonna be some fun builds with that. Not gonna lie.
Animosity is now changed to heroism because
Cleaned up
if
attack,
Animosity
yeah.
no longer exists, now we need that new starter item, which was previously the Hero's Axe passive. So
Okay.
those ones are basically just doing a swap-a-rooney.
Got it. So yeah, just with the heroism from Animosity and then an Axe of Animosity. It was got it. Read the patch notes. So continuing to move on. What about Warflag? Warflag's getting some love.
Oh, yes,
right.
this is so exciting.
So
War
exciting.
Flag
With his OP hit
has had a little
chain
bit of
aggro.
trouble in Conquest. It's been insane
Sheesh.
in modes like Arena and Assault, where everyone's
Yeah.
kind of lined up
Red
in
Shoe
front of you and
buff,
ready to get,
sadly.
hits, get those gold triggers. But
Red
we're
Shoe
changing
buff,
the gold
fuck.
trigger to make it a little
Okay.
bit more effective
better
in
not
all
be
of the
here.
modes. Equally, you might say. So we're kind of taking a little bit from the other starter items in the support role specifically and making it so
Oh,
that whenever
no.
you are getting
gonna
that
be
killer assist
unbearable.
that would normally just give you that attack speed and movement speed,
Got
it's
it.
also now going to give you that gold trigger. But again, this
Next year,
item is
Narky Boy,
different
next
from
year.
Sentinels and different from Benevolence
Mm-hmm.
in that the sustain is a lot less because you are getting these extra aggressive stats in the attack speed and movement speed. So it still has that very applicable goal.
True,
that you
no
do
more level
want
15
as a
animosity.
support. But now you're having those extra aggressive stats, and by all means, movement speed, attack speed, really, really helpful,
Always
especially in the early
important.
game.
Wait, so do
how does
Sigil
that
and
transfer
Axe still have
into
power
War
on them?
Banner?
Because technically those
so
are
it's a
items
very
with power
similar,
and prots.
kind of transfer where
If
this
they
is
don't have
getting
power
gold
on them,
for
that'd be
5.
really bad for
Instead of
solo.
that extra effect, you're just going to get a very consistent flow of gold in instead of having to once again play around that old basic
yeah,
attack
the old
trigger.
mechanic. Got it. All right. Cool. So we're kind of out of the starter realm, it looks like, because we're moving on to Erendite getting a bit of a buff.
Yep. So these are
You guys have
honestly
thought
a little
ahead,
bit
Agri.
almost-
You guys have
well, I was
thought of
gonna say
everything.
It's going to be easier to explain than I just saw what's next. So Erendite needs a buff. It's getting a buff.
Boom. Easy
Boom.
peasy.
Easy peasy.
Erendite. Next up, little more complicated. Aussie getting a shift a little bit.
Right. So Aussie. So we're shifting this item
Yeah,
to be
we're launching
a little
into
bit more
space,
of a
Gaming
high
King.
power, high lifesteal item, but it's going to be losing the penetration to balance that. And you're going to see a little bit of these pen shifts coming up in several of the items coming in this list. So Aussie, we're going to be decreasing the cost again, a little bit more of an early game
interesting.
option.
Yeah.
Increasing the power by double, so it's going to go to
Ooh,
25.
50%. That's actually a good
Increasing
change.
the lifesteal a little bit. Decreasing the attack speed, so obviously a lot of stat shift.
35% is just
but
too
you're
low. Like,
completely
you're probably losing a
that physical
fight either way
penetration.
if you're at that
One of the reasons why
point.
that power is doubling.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
this
make
would
up for the
typically be the second item that you'd see in those kind of Transcendence Power Hunter builds. And so we
So
kind
no
of
pen,
wanted
but
to
50
give it a
power.
little bit more of a lend to that build by giving it some extra power.
Passive's better.
Now it's a little bit in more of that space where if you want to deal a lot of damage with your abilities,
Yeah.
you're having a better time at doing that because you've got that extra power for your scaling.
Makes sense.
Tank item? What?
So
Aussie?
the next one on the
No.
list, Atalanta's Bow.
Lifesteal
Also
items will
kind
never
of-
be
kind of a
tank
shift.
items.
Oh yeah, this is a lot of changes here for
Your
Adeline.
abilities,
This item has
you
been
need
a little
high
all
auto
over the
attack damage
place,
for
in the
lifesteal to be
past
good.
couple of years.
Not ability
with
damage.
Crit chance,
Soul Eater,
no
though,
crit
yeah.
chance, so we've got no more crit chance.
Hey,
And
Mr.
now
Gibby,
we're
thanks for
just
the 5
going
months
to
of the
a
Twitch
little
Prime.
bit more
Welcome
power,
back. Thank
a
you,
little bit
thank
more
you.
attack speed, and we're decreasing COD a little bit. It's also cost.
It's also,
sorry.
yeah, it's removing
no
lifesteal too.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Two of those stats being removed.
but
Yeah, it's a lot.
it has 10% physical penetration now.
Exactly.
So,
So a pen option, yeah.
yep, this
Back to
is
pen
now
on
more
Atalantis.
focused into that little bit of lifesteal build that you see, where it's
Would
a
there
little
be a
bit
mitigation
easier
cap?
to get into.
There isn't one.
This percentage pen.
you're asking
with
aggro or
the
somebody, if there
extra
will be.
bit of
Who
attack
knows?
speed and power that you're getting, nice little splash there.
Just
I
a
hope not.
splash.
Little splash.
Speaking of little splashes, Bloodforge also getting just a pretty straightforward buff.
Pretty
This one's
straightforward.
fun.
It's going to be getting that cost decrease. It's a little too high cost for what it was providing, but also a little bit of that movement speed increase as well. Just honestly an item that
Bloodforge
just
buff.
might be undervalued. It's you
Yeah.
want to just like give it a little bit of a flavor. Fun
Thanatos
buff, so
buff.
that people can
Sino.
play more.
Oh,
Yeah, just a
fun.
little
Yeah.
more love.
Before it was a little bit of a luxury item. Now it's at least a little bit more affordable.
Got it. All right, so the Crusher also having quite the list of
Ooh.
changes, more shifting.
Yeah, this one's very, very cool. So previously in the Mace Tree, there was only 1% pen option.
Yeah.
But we decided that we'd like to open it up to another one for different kinds of characters. Because Titan's Bane's really good on a particular subset of characters
Yeah.
that's slamming all their abilities down at once and just being done. Whereas Crusher is a little bit more for those, not necessarily spammy characters, but characters that have a lot of abilities coming out over time. So Crusher is still going to be keeping the general vibe of how it works. It's going to be getting that subsequent hit
Exactly.
that we talked about
Yeah,
before.
there it is.
But
There it
we are
is.
changing the penetration to be percentage.
And because of that, like that shift, it's no longer flat. We're also.
I didn't see what happened here. What's
Like
happened?
a late game
Yeah.
option because it didn't
Exactly.
really make sense for it to be percent pen in early game. That those two generally don't go
That
as
makes
close to
sense.
hand to hand. So it's going to be gaining a lot more. So it's like the cost is going to be nerfed.
More
It's gonna be
scaling
gaining a lot
now?
more of a cost
It's a late
price,
game item,
but
2700
it's also gonna be
gold?
gaining a lot more power. It's
With
gonna be
percent
gaining some
pen?
more attack speed as well.
40%
Interesting.
from the passive, by the way. That's
Yep.
a lot.
That is
It's a lot,
a
more
lot.
passive. And because of the percent pen, we're going to see this kind of a mirror shift. It's going to be off of the Warrior's Bane item instead of where it was previously.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
We'll see this mirror
across
as
the
well
tree.
for the mages too.
Yeah, and moving forward again, Dominance. Also kind of a shift, a little smaller of a shift it looks like, but still some shifting.
Yeah, so we wanted to give this one a little bit more of an identity, right? Between this
Yeah.
and Silver
Yeah,
Branch,
so
it
it's
was
just
kind
a
of hard
late
to
game item
decide,
now.
do I go this one or
This
do I go
one
that
or
one?
that one.
So this one is getting a little bit of love towards that Hunter direction. It's getting attack speed, and it's basically shifting the penetration away from just being in the base, so it's not really as helpful
Yeah.
on those characters that aren't really using their basic attacks. This is now moving it from the just general stat to the passive.
my goodness.
So
Gotcha.
your basic attacks doing more penetration, but you're not having it on your regular normal
Oh
abilities.
my
Now I'm
gosh.
going to complicate things a lot further. I was like staring at the patch notes for a while, or the
That is
the
broke.
for a while because I was trying to figure out where it is. Silver Branch Bow. I feel like we'll move that up. I'm going to skip to that because it's somewhere else. Silver Branch Bow exists in the same realm as a lot of these pen options, so I wanted
Yeah.
to make sure we address that. It's going to be actually losing from 20% to 10% of its physical penetration. And that's also a lot of the reason why we're seeing these shifts, not just on Dominance, but also, like we said, on Atalantis as well. We want
Yeah.
to just kind of spread
That's
out
good.
the percent
It
pen
was
from Silver Branch. which is
balance-wise,
historically
it was literally just
a little
being
bit too
valued
strong,
for its
Yeah.
and move that
stats,
along
not its
to
passive,
some of
so.
those different items.
Yes.
So I wanted to address that one too.
It's not that kind of catch-all that you just buy in every build, even if you're not making use of the passive. Now you really have to say, okay, am I going to actually use this
Yeah, do I
passive to make
need
it worth it? Do
Yeah,
I need it, or will I just
exactly.
go buy
Yeah.
new Dominance
Because the
instead?
passive
Either
as
way.
well is quite strong. Like we
Oh,
want to
yeah.
make sure
It
that that kind of shines for what its purpose is.
Yeah, got it. Instead of just, I need the stats, the passive is whatever. So,
Exactly.
got it. So the next shift, Devourer's Gauntlet, has a ton of changes to it. If you want to get
Ton
into
of
it.
changes.
Yeah.
It's getting an increased cost. We want to kind of make sure that Transcendence and Dev Gloves kind of live in a more competitive design space. Dev Gloves, a little bit too cheap. Gonna go increased.
Yeah,
Gotta go up a
100
little bit.
changes, one for each coin. All right, next up, Emperor's Armor also getting a shift.
Yeah, so this has been one of the most MVP valuable items across the board for supports, just because it's had a humongous value in the passive
Yeah.
and the stats by itself. So it's going to be going up
Time
in
is
cost,
back.
but in addition
You
to
never
that,
left.
the passive is actually going to be getting a little
Move
bit
your mouse.
stronger on the offensive end.
Exactly.
Got
So
it.
a little bit easier for you to dive, but you're going to have to pay a little bit more for those stats now because they're pretty good.
They're pretty nice. So you got to pay a premium for the
What?
good things.
Oh, yeah.
Mail of Renewal also getting a
A
shift.
little bit of shift there. We saw, like we talked about with Gauntlet of Thebes, it had a little bit of some time there in the sun where it was kind of
You hear
living
him,
competitive
Ma?
there. Now we're going to be decreasing the cost a little bit,
You're just like
increasing
me.
the health and the HP 5, but also in turn we're going to be decreasing the protection. So
Yep.
kind of leaning in on the health and the HP 5 as the stats that are kind of premier for that item,
Okay.
and then decreasing the protections to make space for some of the other items. This shift also kind of lives in line with the kind of the tree identity that we were talking about before, just making
Yeah.
sure that this is a little bit more emphasized on the stats that would make sense for it.
Yep.
Yeah, that falls in line with the identity of its tree. Okay,
Exactly.
cool. So then we have Midgardian Mail. Look like it's getting a little bit of change too.
Yeah, so as you'll have noticed previously, Witchblade, out the door. Nemean Line,
Bye-bye.
out the door. So, in turn, we gotta make sure that our Hunter counter item is a little bit more applicable here, so
Yeah.
we're just giving it a little bit more prot. So when you do buy it, now you know exactly which
Probably
one you should be
Mansura,
buying
yeah.
at any given point, because There's only one option now, so it's really a lot less
PTS after
complicated, a lot
patch
less
notes?
like min-maxing what the stats are. But in addition to
Please?
that, Midgard is just a little bit stronger now.
A little stronger.
That would be
and
so
then Oni
cool.
Hunter's Garb, also a little bit of a shift.
A little bit of shift there, going to be decreasing the health.
I
just by
literally
50,
cream
but
my
in turn, we're gonna be
shorts.
Increasing the passive again, leaning away from the stats, being sure the passive is a little more in the limelight.
Got it. So Rage, getting a little bit more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rage time.
This
Chat,
one's super
Aggro
fun
just
because
told
Rage
me,
is
he
kind
just
of like
DM'd
an
me
all or
privately
nothing
in
item,
a
right,
direct
where you
message
don't really want this
format.
when it's not stacked,
He
but if
said
it is fully stacked, you're having a great time.
100 gifted
But to give it
PTS
a
will
little
go
bit
up.
more of a nice smooth curve
shoot
to
the
where you get
messenger.
to that top point, we're giving it power every time that you stack it.
Yep. So you're going to gain 5 physical power
Show
per
proof?
stack, but we're also going to be decreasing how many stacks
Okay,
it
one
is
sec,
at the
one
top
sec.
end, so it doesn't feel as like rough, like the variance between having some stacks and having
Yeah.
all the stacks. So it's just
Yeah.
going to be going from 5 to 4, and then Evolved Rage is also going to be hit with that too. So it's going to be the same exact critical strike chance at the end, but you're going to be increasing in your physical power.
Okay, yeah, a little extra swing in that in the Rage item.
Yep.
So Rod of Tahuti, also a little bit of a buff, also nice and simple.
Yeah, we're just kind of gear shifting here straight away back to mages from from
another
Rage,
hard
but,
shift, yeah.
Okay, here we are now in Mage Land. Rod of Tahuti, just too expensive for what it was offering in our minds, so we're bringing it down a little bit. This also does reflect upon the glyphs as well, so they are additionally that overall price that you would be going to get either the two
So
up
yeah,
there,
don't,
also going down just a bit.
Awesome, and we talked about this one a
Right,
little
that's
earlier
what's
with Silver
happening.
Branch Bow having
So-
a shift.
That'll
So
Yep.
live in
yeah, we'll
the
move
way.
forward with that. Spear of the Magus shift back into Mage World.
Yeah, exactly. So this is kind of mirroring the shift we saw on the Hunter side.
Yeah.
So now we have
10%
Spirit of Magus, which is going to be
pen
building
now.
off the spell focus tree because its flat pen is going to be turning into.
Dash, thanks for
10%.
gifting us
Got
up
it.
to Mardio. Welcome
Easy
to the Fonzie
peasy.
family, Mardio.
Cool, all right, and
1998.
it looks like we have one more, and that's the
This is a
Sphinx's
fun one.
Bauble getting a buff.
Oh yeah, so Sphinx's Bauble has been in and out of the meta. It's very close to being viable right
Yeah.
now.
In and out
some
of the
very
meta.
specific builds. So we just want it to be a little bit more worth its price, make it a little bit easier to get into.
course.
It still is almost 100% a luxury item. Don't go buying this first item because it is going to make it a little bit worse for
Yeah.
you. But we want to still lean into its full power mage potential, so we're giving it more power and dropping the price a little bit.
Odd drops here and
So
there.
try it out. I promise you, it's really not that bad. It's not
not
that
there,
far
but
off.
Pick it
Mostly
up. third
here.
or
Give
fourth
it a
item.
In
shot.
fact, it's pretty good.
And there.
I would say it's
On
pretty
the
good.
right characters. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, don't
It
be
says
buying
here,
it.
I was gonna say,
odd drops here and
it's
there.
not a unanimous vote by it's in every game.
Yeah, so
All the characters that can really use their cooldowns. Like,
Exactly.
I'm thinking like Nuwa. Oh my god, can you imagine the ults going off?
Says
that
here,
fast? Yeah, it's
2011, education.
so that was items. We did it. We made it to the end
I
of
swapped
items.
between water and something else because I'm just like, you know what? We've got another big category.
We
coming
got
up.
one. So we still got more balance for those of you. If you're following along the patch notes, awesome. That's been a lot of stuff we've gone over. We have a little more balance to go through. We have gods now, but like with the items, there's some standard balance in there because of course we're always tweaking things. But we got to start with something new. This is year 10. It's a big 1-0. So we got some new stuff to talk about for the gods on the battleground. And let's get into it with some class bonuses.
Yeah, so this is in a
Unfortunate corn
completely
chili.
new, mechanic, a
100%.
new feature, a new
Yeah.
system almost, right?
Have fun in
Similar
class.
to how shards were an item-based gameplay feature.
Sounds mega
that
boosted.
affects
Yeah,
all
because
game
people
modes.
told me I need to turn my
Class
volume up,
bonuses
so I
is
literally
going to be
boosted these
affecting
guys
all
to
gods,
freaking
all the time, all game modes.
All of
Yep.
my
600%.
What these really are is that you've got your 5 classes,
Yeah.
warriors, mages, guardians, hunters, assassins. Did I get the right? Like, just making sure. And each of these
I get
classes, I mean, as simple as it sounds, are going to be gaining their own bonuses. It's basically
What's up,
kind of
Death Bjorn?
stats,
How are you?
usually that are either
Okay.
there at the base or gaining per level.
Yeah.
That are kind of the goal for these are to lean in on the identity of what these classes
Call it a volume
are
booster,
for,
senior.
and just play a little bit more into that. So let me it'll be a good, better example when we go for the first one.
Yeah,
So
start
warriors.
getting into it. Yeah.
Warriors
Grab
are
some
going to be
toilet
gaining
paper.
5
Gonna have to update
flat
me
cooldown reduction, as well as 0.25% per level. So
Got
that's
it.
going to be scaling from 5% at level 1 because of the flat, all the way to 10% at level 20.
Yeah.
A lot of these, I don't want to go too far into when things are linked to each other, but obviously, if you remember from the Conquest discussion, if you were there for that, blue buff lost its cooldown reduction.
Yeah.
It was some of that was on the silver buff, but this is just one way of playing around with, what do warriors want? What kind of specializes you as a warrior bruiser instead of like a guardian bruiser? Is we want you to play around with your abilities a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
You can be kind of more basic attack focused, you can be more ability focused, but warriors as a whole want to exert their pressure in the lane, whether it's conquest or still exert your pressure everywhere else on the battlefield
Exactly.
if you're in a different game mode. So you're now going to be gaining flat cooldown reduction as well as some scaling to level 20.
Yep.
Nice. Next up we have assassins. What are their bonuses going to
Yeah,
be?
so let's get into that. So
What's your assassins
over the
want?
years,
Yeah.
over the years, we've had this kind of. I won't say it's a problem, right? Because we love to see class flexibility. We love to see people trying
Yeah.
different characters in different places, but one thing that we wanted to try and establish with this is to say these characters are meant to be the best at this specific role, at this specific task.
Yeah.
And so assassins, their task is
Thanks,
to go
Lizard.
and gank people,
Yeah,
right?
deal damage.
So
They're killer machines.
they're killing machines.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No. There's no
So
CDR in
what
blue
do
anymore,
assassins
Blair.
want? They want flat pens. They want to get it going early.
What they want.
What's up,
So-
J-Man?
Give it to
That's
them.
what they asked for.
We're going to be giving
They
them
wrote a letter.
5 plus 0.25 per level.
There is
physical
CDR on the
penetration.
contestable
So
buff.
this will be 5 at level 1, and then at level 20, it'll end up at 10.
Beautiful. Next up, we have mages. And what are the mages? What are they?
A little
run
bit,
like?
They want a lot of
Mages want damage.
They want mages
Whether it's
want
for
to
killing
do
people or
damage.
killing NPCs or
Yeah,
whatever it may be.
clearing the
so they
wave,
want damage.
whatever.
Anything.
They
So
want damage.
we're going to see a little bit of
Power level
kind of
1?
a mirrored effect here, or kind of like a
I'm playing mages in
here for
solo.
the mages and the hunters.
Yeah.
So I want to mention that a little bit. Mages are getting
Thanks,
a little
dude.
bit more damage up front.
A lot better
so you'll
than
see that
yesterday,
their
that's
base
for
a little
sure.
bit more, and
Somehow.
hunters are going to be
one-day
gaining something for a
illness.
little bit later for the late game. So
Got
we
it.
want to make sure
My
that
throat doesn't even
this
hurt
is
anymore.
one mechanism of balance
That's all
that
they call
allows
me
us
a
to
throat
like,
goat,
hey,
though.
we know season 9 mages have kind of been pushed out of the spotlight. Whether it's in mid or
We do.
whatever.
Slayer of
version that
Gods,
you
we
play.
win.
But
Yeah.
specifically as well in the SPL, we saw a lot of double hunters going on, and one of the reasons why was because the lane pressure they exert.
Yeah.
Right. So we wanted to say, hey, mages, we want to make sure that they're a little bit stronger in the early game. Especially
off the
compared
bat.
to hunters,
Got it.
at least in what they're good for.
Yeah.
So mages are going to be gaining 20 bonus magical power, which is more than some tier 1s.
Yeah.
As well as just 1 per level.
I know some
So
of the
scale
tank
from
items
20
seem pretty
all the way
good,
to
but
40.
my
20
initial
early game
reaction
is a lot.
That's a
40
lot.
late game
Is that-
not as much.
Got it.
I have
All
a
right,
feeling that there
another
might
good
be
change, though.
it might be a meta
So,
where you just play
what are my guardians
mages.
getting? What are they?
You build like a
Guardians
Book of Thoth
are
or
the
like a really
best
high
at
damage
tanking.
item first
They're
item,
really
and then
good
just
at
go
getting in
like
the front
bruiser
line
items
and,
from there.
disrupting a lot, but they're also really
Because
good at
I don't know if there's really
absorbing
great like
CC.
first
So,
item
to
damage
kind of go
options for
alongside that,
warriors
they're getting
or
base
assassins
crowd control
now.
reduction. So they're going to
Like,
start with
you
10,
can just build and
they're
then go
gonna
straight
get
into tank items.
0.5% per level.
Maybe.
So they're going to
Nice.
start at 10% CCR at level
maybe
1
not.
and end
I'm
at
not sure.
20% CCR
Hard to
at
say,
level
but-
20.
That just
Well,
sounds
as a
to me
Guardian
better,
player,
so I
I've
can
learned
actually
there are no
farm and
problems I
stuff.
could not stop with my face, so I like that.
Exactly.
And,
I mean,
yeah.
some of the items have a very similar vibe, right? It's
Yeah.
like, you know what? The goal is for them to hit my face, so let's just make that
Yeah,
a
let's just
thing.
get in there.
Right.
You're
So,
getting
But
rewarded
that
for
may not
getting
be
hit
true.
this time.
it's my favorite.
And
so.
it's a lot of stats. Crowd control reduction is one of those stats that may not seem very exciting at first,
Yeah.
but it provides you a lot of passive benefits.
I talked about it earlier,
10%
but you need
base
you
going
need
to
power
20%,
early game to
that's
clear and
almost,
stuff.
you could say,
So
it's a lot more of a stat than some of these other.
But you could go
classes that are,
trans.
what they're
you
Exactly.
could still go
Yeah.
Soul
Yes,
Eater,
just
I guess.
The overall power of being
Sigil
able
Soul
to
Eater or like.
avoid CC chains just in general, especially as.
But
the
even like if
Guardian
you
whose
just play a
whole point
Guardian,
is to
play a
really
Guardian
take
and
these
go
for
Book of
their
Thoth
more
first
squishier
item, and then just build
Yeah.
tank items.
It's so helpful to have the stat just ready
You
to go.
could do the
It
same with
also, like, leads
Transcendence,
you away
but
from like feeling that if there's ever a time where you wanted beads, you can now
We'll see, we'll
maybe
see.
move towards this
Yes,
another
that as
20%
well.
CCR option or 10%.
It's
Build
a
up that CCR
it's like
to
a
its cap
hockey
and then go for a completely
hockey
different color.
hoodie
and then
that my brother got me for
diversify the build,
Christmas.
Continue
It's
to
a
show
Memphis
expression by
Grizzlies
using other items. Stuff I love. I'm excited about
play
it.
step.
So
Thank you,
last class, hunters. What do the hunters get?
So hunters, we were talking about that yin yang effect
with the
between
mages, yeah.
So mages got a little bit more early. Hunters are actually getting nothing flat. Well, they're getting a little bit. Okay. They're
Why?
getting a little bit of a flat, but it's
Oh,
honestly it's increased basic
You know,
attack
Puck.
damage. Over time.
I'm not a hockey
so
player
they're
now.
Getting 0.5% per level increased damage on specifically their basic attacks. That means they're going to be scaling from 100% basic attack damage
Yeah.
to 110%. That might not sound like a lot. That is a whole
It's a
bunch,
lot. Yeah,
that's a
especially when you
lot.
It's a
factor like
lot.
crits and all the power they can be getting. But it's also just for their basic attacks, not for their abilities. And that leaves
Got it.
kind of the last round out. The ending speech for this the class bonuses as a whole is we talked a little bit about the nuances between them, but one thing that's
Thanks,
important
Liz.
is we definitely understand on the
Hunters
on
get
the
iron sights.
that
Every
these people are
hunter
gonna go, hey, what about the
Now has
class
sleight
that
of
kind
hand.
transcend roles,
Pro.
right?
Yeah.
What about
and
the,
Commando Pro.
the ADC mages that are going to be getting bonus magical power, which they might like, but maybe they wanted to increase basic attack scaling. As I mentioned at the beginning, we want to
Snowballing
kind
any
of
issue with these
focus
bonuses?
these classes.
I don't think so. The
with these
benefit
stats
isn't
in
that
mind, but
crazy.
that doesn't mean we want to ignore the fact that there are kind of these subclass
Yeah, that they can
mechanisms.
shift around. Yeah.
Exactly. So whether it's mage assassins or with the
It kinda
bruiser
is,
guardians,
Mom.
whatever it may be.
Yeah.
No,
You're
they
gonna
didn't do
see
the
a little
Surtr
bit
abilities
more
and stuff tactic.
nuanced shifts maybe in their god balance specifically if you want to play around with that, but these class bonuses are a little bit more focused.
Yes.
Got it.
So we're going to be keeping a close eye on those characters that do transcend their classes. But just in case, we want to make sure that this is going well at the beginning, and then, if we need to adjust them further, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, always looking for y'all's feedback. If y'all like, man, mages do slap though, then let us know and we'll keep an eye on it. So,
Of course.
looks like besides just the classes, there are also a couple overall stat changes happening, starting with some magical protections, it looks like.
Yes.
Yes, That's right. So we were looking at, as a whole, what's going on with all the different classes, the different stats, and one of those things that we noticed is there's always been this kind of flat amount of magical protections that all these characters have had, and it's always been the same as well for all the classes.
Yeah.
This was a time to evaluate whether that was necessary. So as you can see here, it's actually quite simple. We're going to be decreasing what was 38.4
very specific
magical protections for all of the classes, which is very unlike physical protections, by the way, to be a little bit more incentivized or not incentivized, categorized between each of the classes. So the squishy classes, mages, hunters, assassins, are going to be going all the way to 30 magical protections. Warriors a little bit more than that at 32. Guardians the most because they're tanky.
Let's go.
At 35. Still all lower than 38.4.
It's Opera GX Paradox.
And to make up for that, they're going to be gaining
Opera GX. I didn't add for them a while ago. It's just a good browser,
1.2,
honestly.
which is what they were all at, to 1.6.
You do some cool
so
stuff
that
with
they're
it.
scaling at least
And it makes cool clicky
Got it.
noises when you type.
And that makes sense, though, especially for some of
I
the
am
squishier
Mingo.
classes,
Not
because,
100%, but
a person,
very
a
still,
normal
like,
person with a bow
congested
and
and
arrow,
nasally.
it makes sense they get hurt a little more than a person
More than
with
I
rocks
usually
for skin.
am.
So, yeah, that just makes sense. So, but what about base attack
A little
power,
slight
which is also getting
9.5
a little
revert.
shifted,
Let's
but it looks like
go.
just for one class.
Right. So hunters specifically, again, playing on the fact that they were a little bit too strong in the early game.
Yeah.
We talked about how they didn't really get a shift for the early game except for like increased strength. We still want to make sure that there's going to be a difference between the hunters and the mages specifically.
Let's
They're
go.
indicating a
Hunter
basic
nerfs
attack
early
power
game.
decreased by 5, which honestly will probably matter the most around like level 1s through 3.
Yeah,
After that,
early
every
game.
item that you get is going to be changing
it'll
that
be
quite a bit.
pretty close to the
Yeah,
same.
it'll vanish.
It's really talking about that specifically
You think so,
the
Ronnie?
early game difference.
I was saying we
between
should have a
hunters and
mid-season
mages.
Yeah,
event.
to help bring the mages a little
Well, Johnny
back to
said
the
it
spotlight.
originally, but
So. Cool. Well,
It would sell out
that's it for
easily.
the crazy
Mid-season
out-of-pocket
tournament,
changes. We still
be in
have
person.
some general balance we got to
Have
talk
two
about.
in-person
though.
tournaments.
Starting with the nerfs. So
That would be
Ishtar
sick.
getting the first nerf. I'm sorry.
You got this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
all
you know
you.
Zap's
So
gonna
Ishtar
cook something
has
up.
been an amazing release. We
Oh, yeah.
have loved seeing her get a bunch of pro play. We love seeing her in ranked. All of those stats have been really great to see.
Yeah.
However, she is definitely showing up a little bit too much, you might say. Although she loves being in the spotlight, don't get me wrong, she's gonna take a step down for a little bit. So first thing we're doing is we're taking the flat damage from strike shot down. So this is the AoE lob shot that you'll be seeing from imbue arrows. This one is going down just a little bit in base damage. And then Blades of Retribution, that awesome ultimate with the swords. Each subsequent hit of that sword is now going to be doing a little bit less damage, but we're still staying at that upper limit of 80% reduction. So swords are not doing less than 20% damage, but each individual one that you hit
I don't know, Jordo.
first is going to be doing less now.
I don't even know everybody that's actually willing to
So
play.
following that, Lancelot, a little bit of nerf as well.
And
Why
I
don't you
completely
take that
love-
one?
Yeah, no, exactly. Let me go back to make sure because I completely just missed where it was. But I know what this one is in general. So Lancelot, also an amazing release. Also a little bit too
Very
strong,
good.
right? Is that like the
bias.
keyword, the synonyms there? He actually, we saw him in the SPL quite a bit.
Yeah.
But when we were looking in regards to his stats,
Another
it's kind of like
Lancelot
the
nerf.
upper ranks level. It's
My
his band
goodness.
stats, right? The
Yeah.
frustration against him that's a little bit too strong. He's overperforming, but not by a wide margin. So we wanted to hit him with a couple of like damage nerfs to just make sure that he falls in line.
Yeah, to bring
he's
him
not
back in a
too
little
oppressive
bit.
in his assassin, especially with this new map.
Bro,
coming
I
up,
can
which
barely
is
clear my
very
blue buff
careful
as
to
Lance
do.
now.
He's
they're
got
nerfing
as
his
far
one
as he can
again.
moving around the
lot of good
battlefield.
His horse
quite
is
quickly.
amazing.
Exactly.
So good.
So
Feels bad,
piercing
man.
thrust is going to be decreasing the physical power scaling by 5%.
They're just nerfing my
but
Lance
that,
solo.
Of course, happened twice, so it's overall at 10% if you do get the 2 hits.
Yeah.
And then the ultimate's base damage. It was just hitting a little bit too hard before you had any items online, so we're going to be decreasing the base damage across the board.
Got it. Next on the nerf list, Thor getting a little bit of nerf, and Villadon.
Yeah, so Thor has been really amazing ever since he got that change to
True.
his wall. So since then, he has
What does
had
that one
an
do again,
increase
Ma?
of
I
damage,
forget.
Obviously. So we
Yeah.
got to take it back a little bit from somewhere, right? So that somewhere is going to be
Thor nerf.
that arc damage on Anvil of Dawn. So we just want to make sure that if you are getting comboed by him, that one-shot potential that Thor has, if he does hit you with the full combo,
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
not
we
gonna
uploaded
be
a TikTok
as strong.
senior.
You're going to have a little bit more wiggle room there to get time to beat the
Oh,
mages
new
before,
tyrannical,
you
true.
just smash
Let your
the
minions
bloody
do the
hammer.
do the work.
So, all right, one more
Which one are you
nerf to
talking
talk
about, Ronnie?
in God World, and that is Vulcan getting a little bit of a nerf.
Right, so Vulcan got the little bit changed to backfire before. It's something we stick by. It's something that we have seen him perform to like great success.
Yeah.
And one thing
Okay,
that
that's pretty good
the
nerf.
extra movement, the extra kind
That's
of
a good
ability to maneuver on the battlefield has shown is that his damage is now a little bit.
Yeah, we
too
did
high
upload a new
for
TikTok, guys. So next week
so
when TikTok,
backfire,
if
we're
you're
going to be
interested.
decreasing the magical power scaling by 10%, and we're also increasing that cooldown just by 1 second flat, just with that little extra maneuverability.
Not really, Ronnie. I mean, they did it in the last
specifically
tournament, but yeah, he wasn't
Makes
being
sense.
played at all.
All right, so that does it for nerfs. We are now
I think he probably
into
just dominates
the
it, unlike
God
low
buffs
ranked
area.
and stuff.
Gods are getting a little stronger with this update.
Oh yeah,
Starting with
Baskin played a
Achilles
game of
getting
it.
little bit
Baskin did
buff.
play a game of it.
Yes, so Achilles has been in and out of the meta every so often. He's really good
buff?
against very tanky characters that he can execute, of course. But when it comes to most other matchups, he does struggle quite a bit. And a lot of that has to do with his clear, because his clear is very dependent on enemy positioning.
Wait, yeah, no
So
Maui
to give
nerf?
A little bit of love to Shield of Achilles.
If you like to be news.
Specifically in that
Yes,
clear
that's
department.
like half
So
my
lane
YouTube
minions
videos.
only, not
Yo,
jungle
Baby Crow,
minions,
thanks
will
for
be
the trying
taking
sub. Welcome to the
extra
Fonzo
damage
family.
from this
Appreciate
ability,
it.
Of course, respecting the
Yeah, well,
inner
I
and
don't think
outer
Achilles
tones
needs
of his
this.
shield. So you'll be able to clear a little bit better with this one, so more consistent across the board. And then Radiant Glory, which is in general your sustain option for Achilles, is going down in cooldown by 1 second.
That's crazy.
This is just going to help him have a little bit of extra sustain to exist in the laning phase.
Yeah,
That is
continue
crazy.
To be. Awesome. Artemis next
Some of these
up.
items
Scary
work really
Bear
well
getting
with
a little
procs as
less-
well,
no,
so that's just
I
good
said
for
the wrong
Achilles.
person. Oh no.
No, sorry.
You caught me.
I was just like, wait a second. I immediately thought like Tuscan's like
Scary Boar, that's what I said. Shut
Yeah,
up.
exactly.
What's going on?
Although a lot of this is going to be focused away from the ulti this time because we know that ulti is really good.
Yeah, of course.
But going off that one, Transgressor's Fate kind of one
Wow.
that like limited. That's
100 damage at
the
rank
traps,
1
the
on their
first ability
3.
for Artemis.
Yeah.
It was a little bit more limiting than we would like. You know, it's been historically 3 for a long time, but we think it's time for it to be gaining an increased number count. So it's going to be
Cool.
going to 3 on the battlefield at a time to 4. So you can kind of position them a little bit more
So
for safety
excited.
if you want that to do that, or at least keep one in
That's
the
pretty
bank for if you
crazy.
want to be aggressive.
Especially
Yeah.
with those pathing changes in the jungle, you can now cover up a
Exactly.
lot more space with these.
Yeah.
True,
I was going to
Ma.
say, big new map, a lot of area you got to cover.
And then suppress the insolent. That's going to be the third ability. Just gaining a little bit more damage because, you know, whether it's with the 9.5 changes from before or just where she is compared to the other hunters,
Yeah.
she still struggles quite a bit to compete in lane. Once she gets past that to the boxing phase, she's golden.
Yeah, good to
so
go.
just helping her a little bit more with that minion damage.
Yep.
Awesome. Next up, Bacchus, a little bit of a buff on him.
Ooh.
Oh, that's
this
spicy.
is a big
Spicy
one.
Bacchus buff.
All right, so let's start with Chug. Chug is a buffing ability, right? But now it's also a healing ability.
No Arthur
A
buff?
healing ability, you might say. Anytime you take a drink, you're feeling good, right? You're
Yeah,
feeling
it
a
makes
little bit
sense.
higher on the drunkometer, and now you're also feeling a little bit healthier too.
Yeah,
in that
absolutely.
way. So he's got a little bit of extra sustain in the lane now that he's able to chug his wine and receive it.
Heals
Just
Bacchus?
a little health.
So,
Oh my goodness.
Also, in addition to that, belly
More.
flop is going down in cooldown
my
from
fan.
16 to 14
My
to
goodness.
now be 14 seconds at all ranks because we want to make sure that people are knowing that leveling your 3 is the way to go because that's
Oh,
got
he's in
that
the
extra
Ks?
minion
Oh, okay.
damage.
Yeah.
And this kind of solidifies like, hey, I want that extra minion damage. I don't really want to, have to worry
That's
about
pretty
making
cool,
that
though. That's
decision
fun.
between, do I want more flops or do I want
Bacchus
better
has gotten
clear?
buffed quite
Now
a
you
bit
can have
over
better
the
clear
past
and
couple
have better
years.
flops.
And still have the flops. Nice. Like it a lot. Super cool. Next up, also, like, sustain in the lane just sounds like a catchphrase that I want to use for something.
Yeah,
Get that
absolutely.
sustain in the lane. All right. So next up, we have Bakasura getting a bit of a buff.
Bakasura, yeah, I mean, kind of like skill variants almost to like
Yeah.
an epitome. Bakasura is kind of one of those characters that you either love or you hate because it's just really hard to play.
Or are bad
so
at.
just playing around like that, one wants to make sure that he got some fun buffs.
Yeah.
So that eat minion, it has that active cooldown reduction component to it. We're just going to make that 2 seconds flat at all ranks.
Okay.
Letting him kind of gain that effect a little bit more in the early game when before it was kind of more pushed towards the late game when he already has cooldown reduction.
Yeah.
Now you're going to play with that a little bit more early. Regurgitate also in that ultimate, it's going to be increase the slow from that deployable area. It's got a pretty good size, but when people are still in it, like they just leave still a little bit too quickly. So
Yeah.
now it's going to be they're going to be a little bit slower for a little bit longer, specifically in the early stages.
Yep.
Awesome. Fenrir, another assassin out here getting some buffs.
Oh yeah.
Now this one's gonna be really fun because Fenrir is one of those
Fun
characters
Fenrir.
where you can build him in all sorts of ways, and it just kind of works, right?
Yeah.
So we're giving him a little bit more flexibility, even beyond what he already could do. By
Oh
giving
my
Seething Hell
goodness.
attack speed, 25% to be exact.
The best
All
droid in the
ranks
game
when,
getting better?
Yeah.
when
Healthy.
using Seething
What?
Hell. So that's another bonus that you get when using that one. But also for Brutalize, we want to make sure that he's not just walking into destruction by jumping onto someone with Brutalize. So making him just a little bit tankier, going from 1.5 prots to 2 per level. is going to just help him not
That's
die
crazy.
when jumping on people.
Yeah, survive the jump. So,
Exactly.
awesome.
100 power.
Hachimon next on the list.
35% life steal.
Yeah, Hachimon is kind of a
25%
very buff that we
attack
saw with
speed.
Artemis on her third ability.
Yeah.
Hachimon's Heavenly Banner. Similarly, just a little bit too low damage. That
I can hear adapting.
Not as impactful in the lane as we would like it to be, so we're going to be buffing it there.
Can hear him
also
right now.
scaling a little bit. 55% scaling, not that high. It does sure gives you the attack speed benefits, but we want to just bump that up a little bit across the board.
Awesome. The next on the list, and this is just me being dumb for like 2 seconds, is Hell Buff. But when I looked at it, I said Hebo, but spelled weird. We have a Hell Buff. So
I guess you could say that.
yeah. So what's happening with Hell?
For Hell, she has always had this protection reduction on her second ability, Dark
Sheesh
Stance
kebab,
Hinder,
my goodness.
but it was a very low amount, so it would kind
Sprite
of
Panda, thanks for the Twitch
to
Prime sub.
point
Welcome to
where
the Fonzo
you
family.
were leveling
I
this
appreciate it
ability
very
up
much.
last usually.
Thank you.
Even
Hachi buff
sometimes
flame, I see you have to
after
get
your ultimate.
for real.
Yeah.
So what was happening is you were getting to this
There's also a lane
top
buff,
end of the
just
protection
like
reduction, but at that point,
buff
flat
numbers.
prots don't really matter as much anymore.
True.
So what we wanted to do is give her a little bit more application going into the later stages of the game, and have that also be a percent reduction as well. So it's both
That's no
balanced.
fun.
You get the flat, you get the percent.
I hate
They're
Hell
both
buffs.
better at different
Every time
times.
Hell is
so
buffed,
once you get to
I'm
the late
sad.
game, you'll still be feeling like you're shredding people.
Yeah, nice consistent shreddage throughout the game. Love that. So next up, Hercules.
Hercules is an interesting one because it feels like he's always really good or really bad, and he's been
Scary.
not so strong for quite a while now.
True.
One of those things, that he kind of has needed, especially since like the 9.5 times, is just like a little bit more damage, especially against his minions. So Driving Strike is going to be getting a whole bunch more damage, specifically on the base damage, of course, to incentivize him building on the warrior side. But also the spicy one here is Mitigate Wounds. His healing ability is also going to be gaining a buff effect, similar like how we saw with Fenrir.
Okay.
He's going to be gaining 25% attack speed at all ranks, in addition to the other effects it provides.
All
so
right,
now
yeah.
when you pop that, you're not kind of just being like a defensive heal bot. You now want to be aggressive with
Yeah,
it too.
you're being a
'Cause
bonk
what
bot.
else do you want Hercules to do other than just like use his combo and then just start smacking you?
And then run at you,
And not
yeah.
to mention that cooldown's going down
And
as
that
well.
cooldown's
Wait,
gonna be
what?
going down 2 seconds flat, quite a bit.
That's a
But,
lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. Awesome.
He-
Okay, I heard. First of all, I didn't need
Yeah,
a buff.
that is fair. I haven't missed
Second
him a
of
lot
all-
because
Actually, maybe he didn't need a
But
buff.
you know what? It's fine. I'll just adjust.
Maybe he did.
Hunbot's also
But-
getting a buff.
Yeah, so
Definitely
Hunbox
didn't
is in
need
a
a
very
buff. His
interesting
auto
place
attacks.
where
That guy
he
fucking
feels
slams people early
really,
game.
really great when you get to that team fight
His
stage.
passive
you're
with the
able to use
25%
Fear No
attack
Evil,
speed buff on
but
his 3.
Up until that point, he kind of just feels
Sheesh
a little bit
kebab.
like an alt bot, and we want to give him a little bit more flexibility in
Got
how
it.
he uses his offensive tools and his defensive tools, for that matter. So Somersault's getting a little bit more damage.
Animosity
so if
hurt.
you are able to land
Breastplate
that
of
jump
regrowth.
on an enemy. Not only are they taking more damage, you're also slowing them for a little bit more as well. So you have even more chance to follow
Yeah,
up on
'cause you
them
get slammed
with
by him,
the
Victor.
monkey bounce or the overhead
Yeah.
smash, which both do deal a lot of damage.
They
So
dish it out.
the whole combo altogether is feeling a lot better if you're able to land this jump.
As long as you can land the jump. So
That's the question.
It's hard. That is a skill. It's a skill. All right. So King Arthur on the buff list for next up.
Yeah, so King Arthur's got a whole bunch of stuff going up.
A whole bunch of
There's
stuff.
a couple of reasons why. So King Arthur's, again, when he's good, he's good. When he's bad,
I think it's
he's
awesome
quite
since
bad.
now.
Yeah, he's out.
quite bad right now. And also, we've got to keep in mind whether it's the minion tankiness changes.
quite bad?
Whether it's Glad Shield and the subsequent damage reduction.
I don't think he's
premier
that bad.
item for him.
Yeah.
He kind of needs a little bit of an extra love. So damage in several different places. He's going to be getting increased damage on his hamstring specifically, on his battle stomp. And Twin Cleave, which is a little bit more of an interesting one, isn't just damage straight up, but it's going to be an increased protection reduction debuff, which can stack up to twice with that Twin Cleave.
Yep.
Nice.
So-
yeah.
Damage across
Overall-
the board helps him in lane.
Yeah, just a lot of good changes to help account for some of the
Glad Shield
item
has
changes and other stuff that we have
MP5.
going on throughout the rest of the
Or
the
HP
year
5.
10.
Sigil has
It's
HP
been a while
5,
since I
or
said that. I had to
not
work one
HP
in.
5, but sustain.
Kuzenbo up next. Love seeing Guardian get a buff.
Yeah, so Kuzenbo is a
Oh,
lot
shit,
of
they
fun
did that
to
as
play in
well?
lane.
So fun.
But the biggest problem is when you're not able to get those sumo slams off very consistently, you kind of have to play a little bit farther from range when you get into that later stage of the game.
Yeah.
So being able to more consistently CC people from range is going to be the biggest goal of this change to Nene Kappa. And it's basically giving it more slow when you rank it up to
Yeah.
30%, and then decreasing that cooldown. So again, playing around those shell spikes,
Not
getting
enough.
your cooldowns back by getting hit, you've got more Kappas again.
Although
Yeah.
Kuzenbo,
Hooray.
with the new
So,
the
continuing
new
the
mitigation
Guardian
build,
trend, Kumbhakarna
because he has
also getting
in
a
his
buff.
passive.
Ooh,
Yeah, so
this
some
one's
interesting things
crazy.
there. So we were looking at his passive, and his passive is it's kind of binary in a way. Like you either know what it does or you don't, and
Yeah.
maybe he lives.
His
But
passive,
the chances that
it's
Kumbhakarna
120
lives with the
seconds
passive is
now.
probably not that high.
A little slow.
And while we didn't necessarily want to make that effect stronger, where it's like, hey, he lives 100% of the time.
Yeah.
We
And
just
now
wanted that effect to be
cripples.
more of a choice more often.
Holy,
3 minutes for
okay.
a passive cooldown like that it's pretty high. So we're reducing that all the way to 2 minutes.
Cripple on the
Still
2.
a pretty considerable amount of time.
Raw-
But now we won't feel
Raw
like every
Erling
time you
combo's
engage, you have
back.
to worry about it. It's still going to be a meaningful
Raw
decision,
1-ult combo
but allows
off of
him to,
Erling- or off of,
really
Kumba
consider
2.
when he can use those moments a little bit more.
Yeah.
Also, Groggy Strike will now be applying a cripple in addition to its root effects.
Yep.
Nice.
So now it's a little bit more worthwhile to charge up that big swing.
Yeah, to get it all the way
A little
back.
bit more rewarding.
Nice. Moving on, we have some mage stuff going on with Morgan Le Fay also getting a buff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Morgan
it is
Le
really
Fay
slow.
has been a little bit
At least it doesn't go on
absent over the
cooldown if
past
you
few
interrupt it.
matches, and we have
I
kind of
think he
realized
does
this
need a
has to do a
rework.
bit with her ability
I think him
to
and Arachne
kind of
could
finish
use
people
reworks,
off.
but-
She's great
Yeah.
at poking, great at dealing
Incredible.
damage from afar and peeling
Make
herself
his little
off, but when it
execute.
comes to actually killing people, she has a bit of a struggle with that. So one way that we're going to be doing that is by increasing the power of, or not the power, sorry, the scaling on Shroud of Wildfire, that initial hit. So
Yeah.
once you get that bang off, it's doing a little bit more damage. And then, of course, in consuming power, this is going to also be increasing that damage coming from the, I believe it's both the pull in and the swing out.
No, I think we just went with the mark damage. So
Oh,
the
okay,
mark
yes.
damage is going from 5% to 8%.
Yep, so
Got it.
that's if you're able to get a lot of those marks off by using all of Morgan Le Fay's various abilities and various forms of sigil mastery. If you're a master of the sigils, you might
Yeah,
say.
you've mastered the sigils.
We
You're
didn't
gonna be
also
doing
want to go
more
like
damage.
too crazy with that because we understand that sometimes it feels a little bit more incidental. It just felt kind of inconsequential. At the
Yeah,
moment, so.
you wanted to carry the weight, but not be like, oh, if you do everything right, you win! Hooray! So cool. Moving forward,
People have been
Nike getting
spamming
buff.
Morgan Le Fay in
Nike's,
ranked lately.
definitely not
so.
been having
Yeah,
a good time for
not
a
been
while.
Nike's
Turbo, thanks for
So
having
honestly,
us. Welcome
just
back.
A couple
Thank you.
easy buffs there.
Appreciate
Valiant
it.
Leap increasing the base damage. It's pretty low for what that ability does.
Yeah.
The base damage is going to increase that across all ranks. And the ultimate, we went back and forth in its strengths before. Now we're going to just be decreasing its cooldown from 100 to 90. It deserves just the normal ultimate ability cooldown.
Nice
Yeah,
transfer.
nice and easy. All
Nice
around
second
up
night kill.
next.
Who cares?
So
it's not
if
good.
you
it's
remember
not
a
good
year
ult
ago, which I
anymore.
know very long
Very
time
long
ago
ago
for a
against
lot
it.
of us, we
year
did
ago, that
an
was 5
adjustment
days.
to critical
18
strikes and how
days,
much bonus
20
damage
days.
they
Wow.
could deal. And so Olaran was also
be fair,
affected by
Spectral
that
got mega
because
buffed as
despite
well,
him
so.
being a magical character, he too has critical strikes.
Yeah.
So we've decided it's finally time to give
Me
that a
too,
bit of
Russ.
a push back into the more powerful direction for Olaran. And so now his crits, instead of dealing 1.3x damage, they deal 1.5x damage.
Nice.
Oh.
A little more, yeah, just a little sprinkle of damage in there. So, Surcat also on the up and up. What's up with that?
Yeah, Surcat, we've been addressing a lot, and I think, we've talked about this in other patch notes based on how we've shifted her previously.
Yeah.
This time we want to just go a little bit more in line with some soft, simple buffs, and then we're going to continue to readdress her. She's always going to be one that's we're going to keep in mind. This might not be the last time you see her. We just want to do the small things, especially in relation to all the other changes that's coming up. We just didn't want to leave her out as well. So Madness duration on Cobra's Kiss is going to be 1.4 seconds flat at all ranks. Allows her to use that and be a little bit more flexible there. And ambush cooldowns being decreased from 18 to 16. Again, a little bit more flexibility there. 18 seconds for that ability is honestly quite high.
It's a long time, yeah. So, cool. So, getting to doom, this one's for you. Scotty getting some buffs.
And it's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
some
spicy.
cool buffs, yeah.
These are some awesome buffs for Scotty. So first off, let's talk about
Those are
Calder
your
because
buffs,
Calder's
Ronnie.
the real god here, right? No,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
just,
truly.
I'm just kidding. But for Calder specifically, Scotty's passive, he is going to be regenerating more health more frequently. So
Healthy
how
dog.
it's going to work is instead of every 5 seconds you get 1 pip of HP, now it's every 4 seconds you're getting 1 pip. So a little
What
bit
the hell is a
faster,
pip,
if
Laramie?
the dog needs some healing. He's coming back a little bit sooner.
Yeah.
Up next, though, we've got Piercing Cold. So
What's
this
up,
is
by the way,
one,
Tyler?
and so this is going from 14 seconds to 12 seconds. Just a little bit more consistent on the clearing. This
Yeah.
is also a very good self-peel tool because it's got a slow on it. So being able to have that tool up more often, especially for a character that is kind of lacking in range and mobility.
Yeah.
is
Pip is a
going to really
paladin's
help
hero?
her.
True.
But that's not the spiciest change
Yeah.
yet because
Not
we've
all.
got one
Oh,
more
fuck,
here.
what?
So Winter's Grasp, the ultimate ability,
Yeah.
is now getting an initial hit. And you might say, oh my god, that's a lot of damage. And while that is correct, it is also coming away from the damage over time. So
Got
now
it.
instead of having this very long, very, if Calder dies especially, it's not the most consistent damage to get
That's okay,
off.
Sinner.
It's now coming a
worry.
little bit up front and still a very significant
We get
amount
knocked down.
in the
Boy,
damage
we
over
get up
time.
again.
But now if you actually do get the Calder toss onto the dog yeet on the right person, now they will be taking some extra damage up front as well to make sure that they don't have to sit in it for the full
this
duration
will
of the
hurt
snowstorm
Calder.
to actually get that damage off.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that is a spicy change. Just got to make sure you land that dog eat, like you said. So,
Yeah.
very important. So back
See, that's
up
confusing
next,
to me.
as well.
I still don't even know how
train.
Scotty
Yeah,
works.
just as needed a little bit of love, so we're going to go
Yeah.
simple here. Sickening Strike, increasing the
no.
base damage on that by 10 at all ranks. A little bit more utility effect for the ultimate.
Yeah.
Oh,
Would be the
no.
water, so it would actually be increasing the slow from 25% flat, which, is all right, to a little bit
Pretty
more of a
good.
My only
sizable
character.
30% scaling to 40%. So it's going to be a lot more dangerous, actually.
That's pretty
for
good.
just the persistent effect.
You
of that
really do
and
be
not just
lurking
all
down
about
in
these
the
ones.
in the
Yeah,
waters.
awesome. I mean, great for zoning or great for utilizing in those late games, especially if you're chasing somebody down or zoning somebody off.
Yeah.
That'll be really good.
Yeah, and we're also increasing the protections there while he's in that ultimate, so that if you are just smacking him instead while he's in that, he's a little bit more survivable.
Yeah,
Yep.
he'll handle it a little better. So next up, Vamana. Right
Another
at the bottom.
spicy.
Another spicy
I'm
one.
the spicy one
Yeah, it's-
today. All right, let's talk about
Keep
Vamana.
going.
So Vamana is a character that has a lot of problems when it comes to dealing with certain relics. Cursed on. And so one way that we have decided to kind of get around
Wow.
this counter, of course we're not completely removing
That
a
is
counter,
interesting.
is to remove the healing over time from this ability. You no longer heal from this ability, but you can get some healing in a different way now. Well, this
So,
ability is
Ankh
active.
doesn't
You're
proc
getting
on it now.
30% physical life steal while you're big, so this counts for
That's
the
So that's
entire
big.
duration.
That's a lot.
And, then
And that shield
additionally,
is
we're
pretty insane as
increasing
well.
The shield from 1%.
So it doesn't
of your
get countered
max
by Sunder or
health
Ankh as
for
hard.
2 seconds. Or 0.2 seconds, sorry. 2%.
'Cause you have to Ankh a
every
shield.
0.2
Yeah.
seconds.
That
So,
seems kinda broken.
Doubling the shield, basically.
Let's go.
No health
I'm
regen.
back.
But, again, shields can still be countered by your Sunders, by your Cursed Ankhs. You're just not, getting perma damage increased against because you are healing for this amount.
That's
of time.
awesome.
Now you can feel a little bit more survivable.
What if it was ability life
against
steal
those,
too?
and you
And you
don't
can now
just
use your regular abilities while on Vamana ult.
And if
That's
you
what
want
they should
a
have
little bit of
done.
healing back, you have to do something active for it.
30%
Yeah, you gotta-
physical
you gotta
and
work
ability
for it
life
to
steal,
begin the
and you
fight.
can use your
still
abilities
have
while on
healing
Vamana ult.
potential,
Let's go.
But it's not the same. as
Who's
before.
small
It's a little-
now?
it's shifted.
You heal through
Say.
violence now. So, all right, we
That
have
is
made it to
broke.
the final.
So
Bro,
that's one here.
PTS,
Zaban-
PTS, PTS.
Getting a buff as well.
Yeah, this one honestly is pretty spicy.
Ooh.
While
It
the
is.
ultimate effect is active, no, it's not just that blind effect. It's not just the increased range. Jablanca as well, and that will be now gaining attack speed while the effect is active.
This is a lot of
That's-
attack.
20% scaling all the way to 60%.
That's a lot.
60% attack speed? What the
It's a lot
Yeah,
faster.
putting points in this ability is never.
I'm just ulted in lane on
Oh,
cooldown.
yeah.
Give me that.
And people were, worried that the blind effect just wasn't strong enough, which honestly is pretty
We all
strong.
pay
Now
by
you have to be
$1?
terrified of
I'd do
using
it.
too.
That'd be
Yeah,
worth.
because he is flinging those bolas.
Yeah, you
so.
get 1K.
Dude, I'm still the person that's like ult. Stop,
tell anybody.
Ult. So I just can't
That
forget the
muscle
old
memory
days.
kind of
Yeah, it's
effect, yeah.
trained. So. Whew, all right, deep breath. That was a lot
We
of stuff
did
we
it.
just talked
Oh,
about.
shit.
We did it. We
Yeah.
made it. I'm super excited about it. There's still more to come, obviously, but that was
There's
a
a lot
lot
more
of
to come.
balance. Yeah, there's a lot of great things to come, but that was a lot of balance. A lot of things are changing. If you want all
Well
those
done,
numbers,
guys.
you want
Well
to
done.
recap, you missed anything or showed up late,
Clap.
check out the patch notes. Everything's going to be there, same as what we've just gone through, but with a lot more numbers. If you feel like
No,
reading
I
those and
said
doing some
you told
math.
me that if
But,
I got 100 gifted, you would put
next
the
up,
PTS
we
up.
do have community
Everybody saw it.
news.
I showed
but
them the
before we get
message.
into that, how about a fun little video for y'all? Check it out.
I will. Pineapple Racer, thanks for the Prime sub as well.
Have you prepared for judgment?
All right, we did it this time.
Monster. Unworthy.
Abzul, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub, or Abzul, thank you. Welcome to the Fonzo family. I don't know if I'm saying your name correctly.
My
Hopefully I am.
life is death. Each day, each millennia. Eons pass, and yet I cannot. When will it end? How much more am I doomed to suffer? No more.
Sheesh.
No more.
No more. Oh my god, he caught her fucking bludgeon. That shit's OP.
Are you prepared for judgment, monster? I just want this to end. You are still unworthy.
Sheesh kebab. Oh no, Anubis! I don't like when they use the in-game sound effects. They should get new ones. It's him owning the Anubis solo. Team sort of trolling with the comp. Jesus.
But this is not where I fall. This is where monsters rise.
Sheesh. 25 kill streak ability. You just nuke. Battleground.
What an incredible video. I always love these God cinematics because
that was cool.
Full of action and that juicy lore that you can put together. So yeah, excited to get into Surtr, our brand new God, to kick off year 10. Familiar to a lot of y'all in the battleground, but we'll get into that in a minute. I am joined now by two more guests, a familiar face and a familiar face. We have Titan Clumsy and Titan Lurmy.
Hello again.
I tried to combine your names. I almost said Clurmy.
Oh no!
Brain is rotting. There's so many things that have happened.
Clumsy's mic is loud now.
Yeah, we've been here for a while.
73 years. I had a birthday. I had a birthday during one of those videos.
Nice.
So, but no, let's get into Surtr.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess just at the very top of it all, why Surtr? You know,
Just making him enhanced after 30 minutes. They intelligently told me to fire. That'd be funny.
I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head right there, right? It is year 10
Surtr.
of Smite. We want to do something exciting, something that hits like the nostalgic core, something that Smite players themselves would really enjoy, something that players that don't really know that much about Smite can still
He just got there, Bria, so they had to adjust his levels probably.
Who else but our own Fire Giant? In fact, who is Surtr? He is the Fire Giant.
Yeah.
So he's being elevated from just an NPC boss that's been, as you saw in the cinematic and stuff, he's just been hit over and over the head again and again.
Oh, yeah.
And now he's going to be joining the battle.
He's pissed. He wants revenge.
Wreak havoc.
Let's go.
Well, that's incredibly exciting. I know that we have the card art to look at here as we continue talking, so let's check that out as we get into it.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Gosh.
I mean, a little bit about Surtr, right? He's the Fire Giant. He is the Lord of the Fire.
I like the background down here.
And what does he do? His purpose is honestly quite singular. His lore is very straightforward. He brings about the end of the universe in the Battle of Ragnarok. So this is him setting the Yggdrasil tree alight and aflame, which ends the universe, ends the world, because that is Yggdrasil does its purpose. That is what it's there for.
Yeah.
But unbeknownst to him, and as the Phoenix usually goes, once things are kind of in flames, new things are risen again. So while he ends the universe, it is reborn. But Surtr's purpose has been fulfilled. He destroys everything.
Can you move Cam?
And I mean,
Should
obviously incredible to look at, but as we look at this and we get to see it turn around here in just a second.
There you go.
I've seen y'all
back to
design
spinning
from the ground up. I've seen y'all work through the process of bringing something from out of Smite.
I think social use. Yep.
What was different about this? Because this was a character that had existed at least in some capacity on the battleground.
Yep, it's gonna be crazy. Smite.
That's
also,
a great
workout
question
was good.
because he's existed in several different ways, whether it's in the conquest map and a few.
Oh my God, he's amazing.
Even in
Daddy?
Adventure at one point is one of the bosses there.
Yeah.
He's looking cool.
We really wanted to make sure that we brought the depictions that we have shown as Surtr. We brought the lore accuracy as well of his charred flesh, which is a massive component to him. His bright and flaming sword. We wanted to make sure that he evokes those Norse feelings that you'd expect.
That emote's so good.
From his fiery realm of
the what
emote.
emote?
See the fire exuding from his horns, from his sword, from his flesh itself.
Yeah.
We wanted to make sure that when you look at him, you saw kind of like the evolved version of the NPC that you kind of have been fighting over and over again, right? He doesn't, even though he may be smaller in stature.
I can't wait. I literally can't wait.
He doesn't look any less impressive. Those were the high level.
Chat. First game on PTS, I'm playing Surtr solo. Don't play a mirror match, please. Whoever I have to play against, play something else.
The 3D modeling really brought it into life, and you can see I love the materials on his chest and torso area. His
I'm gonna play
looks
so
sick. He's got kind of like the Emperor and Lord motif with a little bit of a broken crown going on there.
Okay, Bria.
We really wanted to make sure that he stood.
Yeah, probably
out
custom
apart
games
from,
work.
The other gods.
Yeah, and speaking of standing out, he is rather tall compared to.
He
a
is
lot of
rather
them,
tall.
right?
I mean, giant is literally in the name.
Yeah,
so.
he is a Jotun, right? Absolutely. So that's a little bit of his.
He's a
lore.
Jotun.
He is a giant.
Yeah. So let's let's hear a voice on real quick. I just want to hear what this god sounds like.
The horn resounds as the battle for the end of the cosmos begins.
Like you said, the tie into that lore there of it's Ragnarok. You know, it's the end of days.
Yeah, imagine.
He's bringing.
All right, let's hear a voice
so,
line. You just hear.
I mean, this is a new God reveal. You know what's happening next. It's time to hop in game and check out Surtr live and in action, and on a cool new map. The cinematic reveal.
Nice pan.
Nice stretch.
This sword is so cool.
You know, fit to go after sitting still for so long.
I was going to say, you have to be limber to bring on the end of the world.
Sheesh.
Yeah. So we're gonna. It looks like we're just going right into it, checking out his abilities like we usually like to do.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got a little minion.
Here we go.
Oh, that's so crazy.
Ooh.
Nice.
What? He's throwing little minions out at him.
Gosh, so,
Better
like
Nenes.
always, so many things going on here. Especially the
He just throwing his little minions.
That's a lot to take in. So we'll see that one more time, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah. So we'll break things up now. So
Yeah.
we saw the entire kit as it is. Let's break things.
Then he turned into a meteor.
All right,
Funniest shit I've ever
let's start
seen.
with the passive. So his passive's called Obsidian Flesh, and what's going on with the passive then?
Right. So Surtr's flesh is made of obsidian.
Boom.
And
You done
basically
know.
when he
Screw up.
loses enough health, okay. Well, I guess things to notice is that he is a warrior, right? He's a physical based warrior. He has
Oh, he drops
melee basic
Surtr
attacks, like a
cores.
little bit increased
Surtling
range.
cores.
When he does take enough damage via that passive, you can see a little bit of a obsidian fragment kind of splits off of him.
Obsidian fragment?
Surtr
Okay.
himself can
I
pick that back
prefer
up
the
to regenerate
Surtr
some of
core,
health
the
that was
Surtling
lost
core.
over time, as well as a protection.
That's just
as
me,
well.
though.
Thing to note as well is that enemies can actually step over those fragments to destroy them. So if you're versing a Surtr, just
He
make
gets
sure
health back when he picks him up.
When you're
That's pretty
hitting
cool.
him and you see him get low, you want to tread over those fragments.
It's
So.
a dance in lane.
It's
Yeah,
a
they
dancing
did- that's
lane, which is
the-
pretty cool. It's
sure
also
The
his
character
main
picture
form
is
of,
their stand-in
self-sustained
picture for when they don't have the
regeneration.
thing
You wanna-
yet.
You really want to
Or I haven't put it in yet.
deny him those if you can, and he really wants to pick those up. It's his own little mini game.
And yeah, and again, always an opportunity for conflict too, because you can try to predict. Oh, they see that their instinct is to stomp it out. I'm gonna
AoE
go
autos?
over and attack that.
Are we
Or
keeping
on
the streak
reverse,
going?
He needs this sustain. He's gonna go for that. I have to take advantage.
Every
of that.
character has AoE
And
autos.
going back a step as well, because we talked about the melee basic attacks. If Surtr, you can see Surtr has actually a 4-hit chain.
He does.
You look right there. The first hit is a standard. The second and third hits are cleaves, and the fourth hit is a heavy hit. The second hit's also kind of a weak cleave, which is a little bit unique there too.
Oh, that's a
Standard,
classic.
Cleave, large.
Two
slow hit.
cleaves.
But yeah, let's move from the passive and basic attacks to the first ability, Flames of Muspel.
Let's do it.
So
I
Flames of Muspel
I
is,
heckin' love
singular
AoE
in
autos
purpose,
bat
and
chest.
What it does, it is a basic attack stim. We've seen a few of those before, but it has a couple of unique effects. In fact, it has quite a few interesting things going on.
No, yeah,
we can't
the
just
sword
do
that big
things
it does,
simply, right?
but
So Surtr sets his sword ablaze, and when he next hits an enemy god, it deals bonus magical damage.
Ooh, he is a warrior.
He is a physical warrior. We talked about that before, but yes,
but he does magical
there's
damage.
a little bit of a transcendence here. He is going to be dealing bonus magical damage. There is a physical burn that's active as well, because if you have a fiery sword that's hitting you, it's going to set you aflame a little bit. So let's go back to that in a second. So he deals physical burn damage as well as a bonus magical damage proc. Also, you can see he's the Lord of Muspelheim. He's got to bring his fiery horde with him. That's what he does to break the Bifrost.
Yeah, he does, Mwick.
So this ability actually spawns a fiery
That big auto
horde
at the end.
that will attack enemies for a short period of time.
And that's a throwback in itself too. because
Exactly.
We've seen Surtr in previous eras.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, the imps.
Some connection to those little
That's cool.
Yep.
That's a nice
We
little
wanted to
throwback.
kind of
The imps
bring
from
that
season
idea
4.
back again. So
Fire
one of the goals
Elementals.
for, our version of Surtr as a playable character was to make sure that we harken back a little bit to what he is like.
Did we,
in the,
Securis? Did I have that
in the
combo?
But we didn't want to just directly draw all inspiration from that.
Yeah.
That's not very exciting.
Yeah, because this is his next stage.
Not sure, Oni.
You want that inspiration. That
I don't think there are hybrid power items, though.
This is a new phase for the fire. Giant.
Exactly. So
Sure.
one final thing that this ability does.
I don't think
other
there's
than
items
the
that
fact
can be
it's-
both.
It's unique and does bonus magical damage.
Oh, I guess like
it
Bobble and
actually
stuff.
is a stacking mechanism. So if you
Maybe
kill,
it does.
sorry,
Maybe actually.
when the debuff is
Yeah,
on
there
an
are.
enemy, that flame debuff, that damage, if that enemy dies
that's cool,
while that
aggro.
flame damage is on them via yourself or from any other sources to make it a little bit easier to stack, you actually gain that bonus magical damage proc increases in damage every single time. So you can keep stacking that up to 200
true,
times. I
Mac.
think is the last number we
Fight
went
that.
with. It is an obscenely large amount, and you have obscenely small fragments of damage you're going to be increasing over time. So this is a long game. you can continue to empower your bonus magical damage proc because it doesn't scale.
Oh
You
yeah, I
can't
remember
buy
that
magical
security
items
now.
or
I
anything
remember.
like that. So the more you utilize Flames of Muspel to kill lane minions, kill jungle minions, kill enemy gods, you can empower further uses of Flames of Muspel.
Yeah, and like you said,
That's
this
cool.
works on anything really. So get those last hits, get that extra gold, and most importantly, get those stacks because you want to be hitting hard with that magic.
True, it's fuel for the fire.
Okay, so you don't need to build power.
Possible. Yeah, let's move on to
You
the
can just kind of
second
play
ability then,
and use your one
Giant's
correctly, and
Grasp.
you'll get.
So Surtr is the fire giant. What does he want to do? Well, he wants to pick things up and throw them around. So we want to do something a little bit unique here. So as you can see, he's kind of has a two-targeter mechanism. The first time he picks something up, if there is nothing around him, he will just grab a meteor from the earth itself and chuck it forward, stopping on the first enemy and stunning it. However, if there is a lane minion around which you don't actually have spawned right now,
That's his fire giant ability. That's the fire giant ability where he throws his meteors at people.
Throw through all the different enemies and stopping on the first god hit. Now, if we spawn a fire imp from his one, you can actually pick that.
I like how he
up.
pulls
So
out his sword to the
third
side.
option, which works
Look
very,
at
very
him, and
similar
he
to the lane
throws
minions,
it.
Except it stops the first.
That
enemy,
is awesome.
Stuns them and does an AOE.
It does an AOE stun, yeah.
Now note that damage from the throw and the explosion will not damage the same target, but you can do that through a minion wave and still explode on that, and it'll deal bonus damage.
Did it do an AOE
So,
stun, or does it
three
just
things
AOE
you can
damage,
pick up.
not one stun?
Either nothing, which would spawn
Baby throwing
a lane
mechanics.
minion, an enemy lane minion specifically, and not jungle minions. He's not that great in the jungle, but you can give him a try. And then finally his
So you can throw minions.
his fiery imps from the AO1, and well, maybe from somewhere else too.
Ooh,
He can throw lane minions
super
aggro.
cool. Always love being able to
From
just
work,
eat things.
you know?
So Emberwalk comes up next for ability number 3.
Yeah, so Emberwalk is kind of like
Oh, that's
movement
cool.
speed
That is
utility.
really cool.
Surtr expands a fiery ring around him of embers that provides him movement speed. If he hits,
Don't tell me it
enemies,
roots them.
It also deals damage and slows them, and it can it expands and contracts. So the expansion and the persistence of the ring deals damage once. The contraction does damage a second time. While that ring is active, if the enemies are within the actual outer ring component itself, they will take ticking damage as well. But if they're inside the ring, inside kind of that donut shape, they won't take any damage from that persistent tick. They'll still take the expansion and contraction damage, but they're actually not going to be taking the persistent damage. That way, Surtr can kind of keep them in that sweet spot, which his basic attacks will also be able to reach him because he's got that extra range.
Yeah.
But you kind of want to make sure that hey, you're kind of keeping people near you, or you're trying to chase them down with that movement speed buff and that movement speed slow that you're
Contractions
gonna be hitting
birth.
them with.
Yeah, great kiting mechanism. You want to keep.
Do you
them
think
in
it'd be a
the
good
zone as
support?
you're, running.
I have
after
no
them,
idea
or,
yet, bro.
they're chasing after you.
Also, the more enemies you hit with this, the more movement speed
Probably
Surtr
not,
gets up
though,
to
no.
a small cap too, and that's enemies, not just enemy gods. So the more you're kind of
Yo, I know my
doing
name.
this
Thanks
in
so much for
team
Prime
fights
Sub.
or
Welcome to the
waves,
Fonzo
you're
family.
actually gaining
I appreciate
movement
it.
speed. And there's one last fun mechanism too, which is if there is a passive fragment out, Emberwalk will actually automatically pick that up.
Oh, that's cool.
So there we go. So that's there.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
So that way, if he's got that active, he's in a team fight, he's getting smacked a lot. It'll automatically.
So,
pick up.
that's like his Ring of Fire from his ability at FG.
Yeah, there's one thing
But
I
also,
haven't seen yet that I'm
his
kinda
2
looking forward
feels
to.
like Gilgamesh 2, where it's gonna have so much fun potential.
End of
It's just gonna be
days.
fun to play the
End
character
of
because of
Talked
how.
about it at the
Bringer
beginning.
of Ragnarok. I want to see this. He turned into a meteor. I
That's
saw it.
that's
happen.
what happens. So after a short build,
Probably, Jonas.
Similar, rooted CC immune ability.
That's a year from
Surtr
now, though,
surges
dude,
into
so
the
there's
air,
no-
infusing
no-
into a large meteor. While he's in the air, Surtr is actually immune to all damage and can choose where he comes crashing down. Kind of similar to
Immune to all
where
damage.
forms,
God
so
damn.
you can kind of move as you're falling.
Look at that.
Now, before you actually fall to the ground, several.
It kind
mini
of seems like the
meteoroids
knockup
split
should go
off,
higher, no?
dealing damage.
With how
kind of actually focusing enemy
impactful
gods
it is?
too. So if there's enemy gods nearby, it will home in on them. The enemies can try and move out of the way too, or it'll choose randomized
Like
locations.
you're the end. It's the end of the universe. You're coming down as a big meteor. Like they should get thrown up into the fucking
And these
heavens.
meteorites do a little bit of damage and spawn those fiery imps that we also saw on Flames of Muspel. Now yourself, Surtr, you're the large meteor. If you come crashing down and hit an enemy, you'll actually do extra damage and knock them out. So it's got a little
Crash
bit
their
of
client.
That is, that is an incredible ability to look at. Like, I feel like every god that comes out has one thing about
Oppenheimer?
them, or one piece of their kit, or one part of their design that you look at and you say, I can't wait for skins to come out for this. I want to see what that changes.
So the 2 has no
That's
cooldown?
what I mean,
Yeah.
the imps will be cool to see if they have a different look whenever skins come out in the future, but like, I want to see what a skin meteor looks like.
He's giving me Ganondorf
That is
vibes
such
with like
an
how big
incredible
and heavy his sword is and like
ability.
fire and stuff. You guys feel that?
I'm just excited to see this not only in play, but but to also see what kind of beautiful ideas our amazing teams come up with to make that really shine, or shine even further in the future.
Yeah, there you go. So that is Surtr, the Fire Giant, the first god of Year 10 Season of Monsters. I'm super excited.
Yeah, this guy's got infinite mana, no cooldowns. So funny.
And I
Such
guess
an original
to
joke.
wrap this up, I just have to ask, y'all have been playtesting this character. He had this awesome kit. What do y'all think? What is his role? You know, obviously he's a warrior, but like, where has he seen the success? And what are y'all looking forward to seeing in gameplay from this character in the game when he comes out?
So I threw Arthur
like
out of my
you said,
room.
Being a warrior in Conquest, you're going to expect him to see in the soul lane. And because he's pretty interesting.
I
where
think it
his
does,
2 can be
Tengi.
body blocked a little bit. His 3 is probably not the ability you want to level up to max at least, but you do want to start with it because it's kind of your only cleaving ability. You also really want to, like Glimmer said earlier, focus on gaining those stacks of Flames of Muspel because it's something that's going to really show which Surtr players are like good versus amazing. You want to be careful that you're also not being selfish around it. Like if you're just doing this in lane nonstop and you're not.
He kills
doing
FG, she
fights,
take his
you know,
place.
you're
Well,
not
it's a
really
different
helping
fire
the
giant now. It's a
team.
different
I
thing.
wouldn't focus on maxing it because that's not the goal. If you get to 200 stacks, congrats. There's
That's
no
a cool
achievement
character for
That's
sure.
just-
I'm
that's
excited to
just a
play
little
it.
bit too much.
Yeah.
Big
so-
dedication. Thanks for the 2 and sub. Welcome to the Fonto family. I got a
He's
peach
a little bit of a lane bully
my nose as well.
once he gets enough
character.
levels online, once he deals that magical damage, because that's also pretty important. He's a physical character, so you'd expect to itemize physical defense into him. But that magical damage proc from Flames of Muspel means he's kind of bypassing that. He's like
Yeah.
cheekily getting a little bit of extra damage from it too.
It does affect you pretty well. And then once he goes to the late game, he's pretty good at being a backline bully. He's not
That's
much
the
of
goal.
a peeler, as you might say. He's not a Horus, that's for sure. He's more of a, I'm going to lock at your squishies, and either I'm dying or they're dying.
Exactly.
That's incredible, and I'm looking forward to seeing, especially with, like always, what the community does, and you know, when the pros get their hands on this, what they'll do with that as well. Because you know, I'm a very casual player, unlike some of my cohorts here, and I'm always excited to see what people who really have, like when Smite is their craft, what they can make with this kind of stuff. So I'm
Can't
sure
wait.
playtests have seen a lot of fun in action, and I'm looking forward to seeing that myself. So Surtr will also, like with all the other gods, have skins that they come out with, including Azure Flame Surtr, which is the standard recolor.
Blue fire.
Oh,
That's so
that
cool.
Awesome.
That
I
artist.
love this part because while
What's
working
this, a
on
purple
Surtr, I
skin
haven't
already
seen
for
all
him?
the different like variations. So like seeing the card art.
kinda like it.
specifically,
I like
that's
purple.
just Sick.
Yeah.
Wow.
I want
And
to see
I
it.
always love these like action card arts because you can see he's sweeping people
Yeah,
away.
look at them go.
The little guys.
That's him using Flames of Muspel on the minion wave, you know, just cleaving them
Awesome.
away.
Is it?
So along with this,
That's
we
good.
will also have, and we have the card art for this, the Ascended Surtr. So this is part of that Year 10 pass that y'all heard me talk about in the
I know
community
this
news
one. I like this one a lot. He's got like that neon teal
Ooh.
green.
Aw. He almost looks
It's
like he's
sick.
from I guess it depends on the depiction.
Can you
but,
go over
like
walls with his
Helheim,
ult,
You know, with,
Aggro?
the, like,
Yeah,
blue
good
color.
call.
Sorry, I feel like I'm maybe
Yeah.
annoying you with so many
So-
questions,
Sick.
but you're like the resident
He's leaving the fire giant pit.
knower.
You can't hold me as an NPC any longer.
Nope, select me in the screen and let me get 53 kills. We also have
Definitely can.
and
Is
I
it
think I'm gonna
definitely?
go over these soon. The masteries for Surtr. So let's get a preview of them here
Oh,
before you see them
yeah.
in Twitter
Nice.
threads.
Gonna be rocking that from day one.
He's angry. Oh, you're gonna be rocking
Wait, so
like,
he's-
the third one
he's
as
blue?
well, you know?
Oh yeah,
It's gonna
Just
be
because of the
we'll
gold
be
skin?
locking this one from game 3.
Norse Rain? Oh, okay, cool.
I can't get that many worse.
Ah, nice. We're seeing it in game.
Yeah,
I love the way his sword and his like his beard and his horn
Dude.
changes.
yeah.
That's one of the nicest golden skins I think we have in the whole game.
That's pretty
the-
cool.
The blues are just so deep.
It just
too. They
is
have
a little weird you
such
remove
a
all the red.
contrast from all of the reds in the
Oh, and
original
the
skin.
magma's like white, like it's white hot. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
Oh, sweet. Then we
That
go
is-
back to that fiery
Yeah, I
red,
prefer
but,
that.
I, mean,
I prefer
yeah,
that.
red, gold,
I
and
think
black. It's so
It
iconic.
really does.
Wow.
Those are some of
Okay,
my
here we
favorite of
go.
the black and gold.
Here we
Alright,
go.
It's
Yeah,
on
it's
the
like,
way.
Uh-oh,
you don't
diamond?
want to speed up the turnaround, but at the same time, I kind of want to
Look at
see
how
what's gonna
magnificent
I mean,
happen.
this one's always gonna look nice, right?
It's
Diamond?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's always a beautiful color palette.
there we go.
Oh,
Sheesh.
We're
That-
back to the white hot.
that is perfection. I will not.
I like that though. That's pretty cool.
Sleeping. you're gonna be playing and
Yeah,
grinding
I'll
for
be
that.
playing all day long, not only because the entirety of Year 10 is coming out, but Surtr is coming
my
along
gosh,
with
that's
it.
so true.
And, wow.
I could
And
take
one
him
thing
in
I
a
noticed,
fight.
too, is with the first skin, then it was like
Yeah.
the gold.
I
and
like
the
my
blue,
chances.
the fire
I like
was
your
still
chances
red,
too,
but for
Ducky.
This one, even the fire is that like
nice,
that white
good call
color.
out.
That's so cool.
So just attention to detail on that.
Blue
You got
fire
purple
is hotter.
flames. Always just such a good looking
Right.
skin.
Yeah, I can't wait to use that. I'm
Yeah.
so excited.
Yeah, you can't wait to use that day,
Day
one. I'll see
one,
the Twitter
exactly.
thread. It'll be
Night
day
one,
one,
hold
12th
on.
hour.
No,
I
okay.
have it. So,
Oh man. Well, again, incredible. You know, we have talked about so many things here.
Yeah.
3.5 hours.
Started in a different year. Like I feel like 2024 is right, but it's just how much we had to talk about. You know, and this has been a huge year, or it's going to be a huge year. It has been season 9, but now we're in year 10, the big 1-0. And
wow.
You know, I'd like to lead off.
Wow! What a great show.
Especially those of y'all who have been around with us since the beginning. Like, y'all have given us the opportunity to continue to grow and start doing these crossovers and expanding our game and making crazy changes like this. But I'm going to ask y'all for help, too. PTS, no waiting for Friday. It's going to be right around the corner. It's coming today because we want y'all to get in there because there are so many things to test out.
PTS.
You know? I'm looking forward to that feedback. If you love something,
PTS.
let us know. If I see it on Twitter, I'm going to be like, hey, yo, they said they love the art. The artist.
It's a warrior ducky.
Be happy because they love hearing that. If you don't love something, also let us know. If something's broken or buggy or a little too overpowered, you let us know, and that's what helps us make this game as great as it is, and that's what helps us move into this 10th year is y'all's support and how incredible the community has always been. So again, look out for PTS news coming very soon. We want to get y'all in there ASAP to start testing all of this incredible new content. And other than that, I look forward to seeing all of y'all on the battleground for Smite Tier 10. Thank you so much, everybody.